through it, he finds a way. Freedom isn't free. Rolling strong. Belief. Believe you can, and you will.
Wheelchairs for Warriors provides mobility solutions to veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Join the mission and visit wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios. Proud
to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 50 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 7 o'clock. I'm Rob Taylor. The second crew member aboard that F-15 fighter jet that was shot down over Iran on Friday has been rescued by U.S. military forces who conducted a rescue mission earlier on Saturday night. The crew member who was rescued was the weapons system officer aboard the two-seater aircraft that was down by Iranian fire back on Friday. First crew member, the pilot, was rescued on Friday by U.S. search and rescue personnel. Now, President Donald Trump, in a post on social media, hailed the rescue of the second crew member, calling it, quote, one of the most daring search and rescue operations in U.S. history. Also writing, quote, we got him. In the post, Trump said the operation unfolded over several hours and involved dozens of aircraft. He said the rescued crew member is a colonel who sustained injuries but will be just fine, adding, quote, he's safe and sound. Stay with News Radio KDK for more on this developing story. Department of Homeland Security says ICE agents arrested 13 people outside of a PennDOT driver's license center in Armstrong County. The arrest happened on Friday. DHS says ICE responded to calls from the East Franklin police because of a, quote, abnormally large amount of individuals outside the driver's license center in Katanning. Those arrested were from countries including Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Turkmenistan. DHS, which referred to those arrested as, quote, illegal aliens, said one of the suspects resisted arrest and assaulted a local officer. The incident is under investigation. Man has been sentenced to 15 years in federal prison after being convicted on child pornography charges. 45-year-old Justin Hughes of Pittsburgh was sentenced by a federal judge on Thursday. Authorities say Hughes emailed 11 videos and one image of child pornography to a person in Ohio back in 2022. He pleaded guilty in November of last year. Hughes was also ordered to serve 10 years probation. Well, a woman was trapped underneath a truck following a rollover crash involving a tractor-trailer on I-79. This happened Saturday afternoon on the northbound side of 79 near Coriopolis. First responders had to use airbags to lift the truck enough for the woman to be rescued. She was taken to the hospital. She's in stable condition. KDK Radio News Time. It's almost 7:03. We have the AccuWeather forecast coming up.
Are you turning 65 and have questions about Medicare? Aetna has Medicare Advantage plans that include prescription drug coverage in Pennsylvania with a $0 monthly plan premium. Plus, the plans include benefits like dental, vision, and hearing. You may also qualify for a monthly credit toward your Part B premium. Call Aetna today at 1-888-76-AETNA to learn more.
Aetna Medicare is an HMO PPO plan with a Medicare contract. Our D-SNPs also have contracts with state Medicaid programs. Enrollment in our plans depends on contract renewal. Plan features and availability may vary by service area.
Don't delay in getting that plumbing repair done. Call Palucci Plumbing today for all of your plumbing needs. From trenchless sewer repair and waterline repairs and replacement, hot water tanks, sewer camera inspections, to Pittsburgh potty repairs, no job is too small for Palucci Plumbing. Owners Amy and Nick Palucci have been in business for 26 years, so give them a call for your next plumbing repair or replacement. Palucci Plumbing, 412-782-5050. That's 412-782-5050.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTRCM.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Easter Sunday starts with a couple of showers, otherwise rather cloudy and cooler with a high of 50. Then colder for tonight with some clouds and a low of 35. Ahead of a Monday that brings sun and clouds and a passing shower or two, the high 51. Then a snow shower gives way to decreasing clouds and colder conditions Tuesday, high 40. For AccuWeather, I'm LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It's time to get green. Doug Oster is here. All natural, no pesticides, no artificial ingredients. The Organic Gardener is on 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
A good old-fashioned sting operation. We've got Steve Rapaski here, Bee Control of Pittsburgh. You like that? And Doug Oster is here as well. We're going to get to them in just a moment, but we'd like to begin by giving you something on this Easter Sunday, as we do every Sunday, like a $25 gift certificate to Sorgles out in Wexford, 412-922-1020. So I'm just going to sit back and relax and enjoy the dynamic duo Metropolitan Window video screen. You can hear it and see it stream live, kdkradio.com, KDK Watch. Here he is, the Easter Bunny's best friend, Mr. Doug Oster. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning. Happy Easter, everybody. Our guest is Steve Rapaski from Bee Control and Meadow Sweet Apiaries. He's sitting here right now. He'll join us after the first break. And first off, big thanks to Sorgles for hosting our garden pop-up. It was overwhelming. I had no idea there were going to be so many people there, and I'm sorry if you didn't get the seeds that you were hoping for, because it was nuts. And hopefully some of those seeds will sprout, and I can share some of those plants with you when we come to our plant swap. And I was spending certainly lots of time outside, and I had a friend in high school that moved to Florida, and I just thought, oh my gosh, Florida, that must be amazing. And he's like, you know what I miss? I miss that first day when the smell of spring comes in. And I was sitting outside the other day, and I was like, something's blooming somewhere, and the wind was blowing it around, and it was like, oh, spring is here. Yesterday, I just sat and watched a little butterfly go from daffodil to daffodil, just a little white butterfly, and spring has sprung. The daffodils are looking good. Speaking of daffodils, this is the time, if you're interested, to go down to Joe Ham's Daffodil Garden, Northern Washington County. I've got all the directions and information at my website, dougoster.com, but it is the greatest collection of blooming daffodils I've ever seen, and it's definitely a magical place. It's absolutely free. You'll leave with a nice handful of daffodils, and Joe is trying to preserve the weirdest, wildest, and most famous daffodils, and so many of them are no longer available. It's just a cool place to go. Back to spring. Oh, man, just kicking the window open and listening to the rain, and then I was listening to the forest wake up and the birds singing. It's here. Yesterday, the red-bellied woodpecker was following me around. I'm starting my spring online garden classes. Again, they're absolutely free. That's Wednesday at 5 o'clock for Farm to Table, Buy Fresh, Buy Local. And the first class this Wednesday, 5 o'clock, is going to be starting now for a great spring and summer garden. And I am going to have another pop-up coming soon. I can't tell you where because I don't want you going there and bothering them. I've dreamed for a long time for making this plant available to you, and it's called Helleborus niger. The common name is the Christmas rose. It's just not for sale at nurseries. They sell it as this holiday plant that you're supposed to throw away after 3 weeks. And it's this great perennial that you put in. It's evergreen foliage, and it starts blooming at the beginning of winter. Oh, man. And I'm telling you, to have something blooming, and we'll talk about this with Steve, but to have something that the bees can enjoy in January, it's amazing, to have blooms starting the end of November and going, and they finish up in the spring. Mine are those Christmas roses. They're all done, and they're just sending up new growth, and it just kind of looks like a dark green hosta, kind of, but this evergreen foliage. And so, in a couple Sundays, I'm going to announce this pop-up. You're going to be able to buy the plant for $10, which is cheap, and this place is going to have some other really cool hellebores too. that they said, well, if Doug convinced us to bring in hellebores Niger, I think we'll bring a couple others in too. And so it's going to be fun. I'll give you more details next Sunday as to where we're going to be. But if you've ever thought about growing that plant, this is the time to do it because you're never going to find it cheaper than that. Now, on the 18th, Saturday the 18th, I'm going to be part of a very special event. I'm going to be speaking at the Remember Me Rose Garden. It's across from the Flight 93 Memorial. The garden pays tribute to the 40 heroes of Flight 93 on 9/11. And I'm going to be presenting growing roses, perennials, and other garden treasures. That is also a free event. If you want to, that's going to be like 9 in the morning. You can stay, and it's the first volunteer day. And you don't have to do a lot, or you don't have to really do anything. Just, I'm going to work my way over there and show like practical how to, prune roses and how to deal with the perennials and stuff. But I've been a supporter of the Remember Me Rose Garden since the very beginning, and it's gone through lots of ups and downs, but they've got it on track. The roses look great. The perennials look great. It's an amazing garden because from 30,000 feet up, you can see the compass that they have built, and that's just as a tribute to the flight attendants that were lost at Flight 93, and they'll point it out if they're flying over. There's also something called a Kavod Garden. It's just an amazing place, and again, it pays tribute to Flight 93, the people that passed. And so come on out, see the garden. We'll talk gardening, and it's going to be awesome. On the website, you can also see I was on PTL last week planting pansies, and I got the talent. When I come on there, I'm the guest. They're the talent. You can see them actually eat a pansy. Pansies are edible, and you should be planting them right now. It's been great planting weather for me. I've been planting arugula, and my peas are up, and it's been great for all the cool weather crops, all this rain. Not so great for the fishermen, but great for growing. My peppers are up. I'm worried about my tomatoes. I don't know what's going on. I think it might have got too hot in that greenhouse. I think I might have actually solarized a flat because when it was yesterday when I was working in there, it was 90 degrees and I was planting, and I kind of thought those tomatoes should be up. And just to be safe, I planted a whole other flat of tomatoes, and I put them inside onto the heat mat, and we'll see what happens there. It is wonderful to have spring sprung, and as I said, the daffodils every day I've been out picking, and now tulips, and I actually when I was leaving, I could just the hyacinths that I just put in the vase the other day were just like filling the whole house with fragrance, and then. The daffodils don't always have the best fragrance, and those are also filling the house. My wife was talking about that yesterday, but I love the smell of them. There's one that I talk about all the time that's just about ready to bloom called Sir Winston Churchill. When you're thinking about, I know we're talking now about planning for the fall. Normal people aren't, but if you are like me and you're thinking about what am I going to plant in the fall, put Sir Winston Churchill on your list because it's a late bloomer, long bloomer, and it smells like gardenias. That is a daffodil that is absolutely wonderful, and I'm just looking forward to getting everything planted. I did a segment on PTL about a month ago with Ray Petland and Mikey Hood, and we did winter sowing. And I threw those containers in the greenhouse and forgot about them. Well, those two have a green thumb because all the stuff came up. So I was transplanting those. Those look good, and I hope you're getting out there, getting some pansies, getting some cool weather crops. A little early for some nurseries, actually. You know, I was at one where they had lettuce and spinach and Swiss chard and stuff. I was at one yesterday where they didn't have it in yet, and so, but this is the perfect time to be putting in your cool weather crops, seeds of radishes, of carrots, Swiss chard, beets, arugulas, all that sort of stuff. I know there's going to be a frost. It's going to be cold, but these plants, they love that weather. And so don't wait until the third week of May. Get stuff going, and that to me is one of the fun parts, is starting early. All right, when we come back, our friend Steve Rapaski from Bee Control and Meadow Sweet Apiaries will be here. We'll talk all about pollinators. We'll talk about mason bees. We'll talk about honeybees. It's going to be fun.
We'll be back.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
Hey, Janoski's got something special waiting for you the next time you get out there. Homegrown leaf lettuce, $3 each, available in the farm market, daily 8 a.m. to 6. Greenhouse Garden Center is also now open for the spring season. The current hours, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So it's the planting season, it's the growing season, and it's every reason that you need to get to Janoski's, open 7 days a week. And remember, wishing all you a very happy holiday season. And remember, all roads lead to the farm. Janoski's in Clinton. Find out more. By the way, like them on Facebook or go to janoskis.com.
This is Dr. Shufo from the Weight Loss and Wellness Center. You've heard this saying, nothing changes if nothing changes. If you want to change your health, your movement, your belly fat, your overall well-being, you've got to change what you've been doing. That's where I come in. I'll motivate you, tell you what to do. We'll leave no room for failure. I have another saying from Napoleon. He said, if you set out to take Vienna, take Vienna. If you set out to lose the weight, then let's get the weight off. Call me at 1-800-900-THIN. Let's make your wishes of weight loss a reality.
News Radio, KDKA, Sports.
Sports, brought to you by Coons Market with 8 locations to serve you a Pittsburgh tradition. Nick York double in the bottom of the ninth to drive in Brian Reynolds. Bucks win in a walk-off 3-2 against Baltimore. Two teams again today, 1:35 first pitch, 93-7 the Fan. Men's Final Four, UConn, a winner, 71-62 over Illinois. They advanced to their third title game in 4 years. Not the most aesthetically pleasing Final Four game ever, but UConn made threes, and Illinois couldn't execute the Huskies. 12 three-pointers and most in a Final Four in their program history. Wolverines destroyed Arizona in the first half on their way to a 91-73 Final Four win. Michigan again will play UConn tomorrow night in the national title game, and it was the 5th time in 5 games during the 2026 NCAA tournament that Michigan scored at least 90 points. Women's final today, UCLA taking on South Carolina. Evgeny Malcolm got the hat trick. Penn's defeated Florida 9-4 yesterday. Two teams again today at 3. And at the Texas Open, round 3, suspended because of inclement weather. But your leader through 6 yesterday still remains Ryan McIntyre. He is at 15 under and has a 2-shot lead. Riverhounds, a 1-1 draw against Indianapolis last night. Elliot Goldthrop scored the late equalizer. More sports, 937thefan.com.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55-plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da! If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it.
Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of Essentials Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
Doug Oster tells you how to keep it green. The Organic Gardener is on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, let's get back to Mr. Oster and Steve Rapaski, of course, Bee Control Pittsburgh, Meadow Sweet Apiaries. Go ahead, Doug.
Welcome to the show, Steve. And we got breaking news. Steve actually planted some peas.
For the first time in 18 years. It was by accident. It just happened to
fall out of your pocket.
I actually had my yard cleaned up and rejuvenated the garden area. So and even the guy cleaning up, he's like, "There's really good soil here." I'm like, "Yeah."
Awesome.
So I thought, you know what? I'll
some peas.
Well, you asked. You said, "Am I a garden this year?" I said, "No, I'm just planting the seeds. We'll let them take care of themselves. Just got to battle the groundhogs and the rabbits."
So you mentioned before we came on mason bees. What are mason bees, and what are they doing right now?
Yeah, well, as you mentioned, spring has sprung. And it's, in my opinion, it sprung early, I think. I'm looking at the dandelions blooming about 10 days early. Now, of course, it's 40 degrees and raining outside compared to 80 yesterday. But, the mason bees, they're kind of one of our first harbingers of spring in terms of the insects, pollinators. You mentioned the butterfly you saw floating around. There's a couple of those. But mason bees are one of our – there's some native mason bees, but some of them are also – non-native but naturalized, and essentially we consider them native at this point if you want to get down that road. But mason bees are a very small native pollinator. It's a large family of insects. They're what we call a solitary bee, which means that they nest as an individual, as opposed to honeybees, which we think of tens of thousands. Mason bees are little. They look like honeybees, and I've been getting a lot of calls about, hey, I have honeybees moving into my patio furniture, or, moving into a screw hole by my front door. And that's kind of one of the big differences is they're little. They nest as a solitary insect. You have one female with about 5 or 6 males vying for her attention. She goes in, she'll bring some pollen, lays an egg, and she continues doing that for about 5 or 6 eggs in a row. She closes off the entrance with mud, hence the word mason bees. She dies off. They continue developing until next spring, and next spring the process starts all over again. But they're
so wait a minute, the female flies away and dies off, or in that?
No, she flies away and dies off. Yeah, so she
leaving eggs behind in that kind of
a gallery or chamber, if you will. Yeah. So the egg hatches. The larvae will feed on the pollen that she's left behind in there. And then, as they grow, they'll pupate. They suspend in development through the winter. Next spring, they come out as adults. And this is what we see now. They're all, my wife said to me the other day, she's like, there's a lot of honeybees out in the back porch. And I looked out and I'm like, no, those are mason bees because they're getting in my farmer's market tables because of the little screw holes and mason, holes in the masonry and stuff like that. So they're very beneficial to have around, and we're getting a lot of calls about it. I think it's going to be a big year for them. They have fluctuations just like other insects.
They're not hurting anything when they're finding these nesting areas.
Right. They technically have a stinger on them, but as I tell some of my customers, flies are more harmful than they are the mason bees. But, yeah, they're harmless. They're very good at doing these early spring plants that we're talking about that are blooming. These are some of the insects that are out there pollinating.
What can we do to help a mason bee? Or should we be helping a mason bee?
Well, all native pollinators need help, for sure. The biggest thing is, in general terms, is just let them do their thing.
Okay.
Right? Let nature do nature. Don't panic if you see that one bee going in a little hole, which, society is typically fearful of anything bee-wise, whether it's a bee, wasp, hornet, etc. But
not just bee-wise, insect-wise.
Insect-wise, yeah, I've seen people freak out over flies and moths and ants, and I hate spiders. I'm a pest control guy. I hate spiders. But yeah, we have to kind of look at the bigger picture and understand that, without some of these pollinators, there's a lot of stuff that's going to go away, or at least be greatly diminished. And not that the world will end if pollinators go away. But however, you look at China. China at one point was using so many chemicals that they were hand pollinating a lot of their fruits and vegetables.
I remember seeing the story on PBS about a whole region that relies on pears.
Has no bees.
Yep, and they have to hand pollinate.
Yeah, and we don't want to go down that route.
No.
It's hard enough to get people to work, let alone pollinate. But it's the native pollinators. What we have to start looking at is, starting off with reduced use of pesticides as a whole. Organic gardening. All those chemicals on the shelves at big box stores. Just because it's there doesn't mean it's good. And then a wise use of chemicals. I mean, we can't live in a world with I shouldn't say that. We need to be very careful how we use chemicals in the world, and yes, there is a time and place for chemicals in certain things, but more is not better. If it says 1 ounce per gallon per 10 acres, don't pour the whole gallon, type of thing. So less chemical use, more habitat protection. And unfortunately or fortunately, we provide a lot of habitat for these insects just by building a home. So you're not going to have a home with a bubble around it. So when you build a house, you're providing habitat, albeit a natural habitat, for all the wildlife. The groundhog living underneath your garage. The rabbits,
squirrel in the attic.
In the attic, right? Bats in the belfry. All that good stuff. But there's certain places for certain insects, and as we get into summer, we talk about the yellow jackets and stuff, and they have a role too. The good bad bug argument. But we're talking now about these early spring pollinators that right now, the insects that we're seeing. I saw carpenter bees yesterday by the boatload. They can be slightly damaging, but they're still they're pollinators. They're native, and we have to have an acceptance and a level of tolerance to some of these, because it's very important to, even if you just have a small plant on your patio that blooms, that makes a big difference in the greater environment.
If I have one of those pollinator houses, is that a good thing?
Those are awesome. Those mason bee houses.
Well, mine's not a mason bee house, but I was looking at it the other day. But it's all. There's mud in there.
Well, so that was a mason bee, or it could have been a potter wasp, which is later in the summertime. But I call them mason bee houses. But yeah, there's those native pollinator houses where there's tubes and holes of different sizes.
Yeah.
You could get them online in garden centers. That's some of the best things you could do. And it's kind of neat to see some of my bee control customers that are actually installing those on their houses, because they recognize that balance of providing habitat for a native pollinator, but getting rid of some of the yellow jackets and whatnot that are on their property.
When we come back, I want to talk about educating your customers, because I know you do a lot of that. I want to hear what kind of responses you get, because there is such a negativity about insects. When I am sitting in front of the TV and I'm watching those ads now for spring, I'm going crazy, because I'm like, all bugs are not bad. In fact, most of them are good or benign. So when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about that.
What did Miss Janie in Romper Room call? Was it a doobie?
Yeah, doobie the bee or something.
Something like that, right.
You want a doobie?
As you two are talking, I'm thinking it's got a whole new meaning. My man, Don.
Times have changed.
They sure have. All right, well, listen, you guys want to get a call in here, too. You're more than welcome to do that. We actually had a call yesterday on the True Value Show, and that's why we kind of threw Steve's name out there yesterday. So if you're dealing with something, give us a call, 866-391-1020.
At UPMC Hillman Cancer Center, we believe cancer care shouldn't just be good enough. It should be life-changing. As the region's only National Cancer Institute designated comprehensive cancer center, we provide groundbreaking treatments and innovative clinical trials with renowned cancer specialists and a compassionate support system for patients and their families. Discover more at upmchillman.com/lifechanging.
A luxury vacation home where the only decision is pool time or beach time. Your own private indoor pool, a real movie theater, a kitchen big enough for everyone to cook together. Whether it's a deep water dock on the lake or a private path to the ocean, SWAC Vacation Rentals has the place where this summer's memories are made. And when you book direct, you skip the extra platform fees and you get the best price. Give yourself something better to look forward to this year. Let's be honest, you've earned it. Visit SWAC, SWACK vacations.com.
Spring cleaning is upon us, but there's one meaningful box that you don't throw away when cleaning out your closet. It's the box filled with your family's important videotapes, film reels, and photos. Hi, I'm Adam Baselogger.
And I'm Nick Mako. We started Legacy Box over a decade ago to help families organize and update their analog media to digital.
Legacy Box is simple and easy. It works and is safe. Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box.
And Legacy Box has been featured in Good Housekeeping, The Today Show, and Rachel Ray.
Legacy Box is like magic, converting your shoebox of memories to the cloud or thumb drive, ready to watch and share.
Declutter your closet by digitizing your media. Become more organized and accomplished, knowing your family's recorded past is safe forever. Take advantage of our spring cleaning sale going on now. It's the easiest task to check off your to-do list.
For a limited time, you can get started for just $9 a tape. Visit legacybox.com/radio to get our $9 sale. That's legacybox.com/radio to get our $9 offer. Legacybox.com/radio.
The Colorectal Cancer Alliance wants you to know a lot of things in life are preventable. Ooh, gas station sushi. That's preventable. And even colon cancer can be preventable if you get screened. If you're 45 or older, talk to your doctor. Go to colorectalcancer.org to learn more.
When it's happening, News Radio KDKA is telling you about it.
NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell.
To the Rooney family, to Art, to Jim Rooney, to now young Dan Rooney, they define Pittsburgh in so many ways. They represent that city in every which way with pride. And I think this draft is something that is really important to all of them and to the Steelers in general.
The voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
It is 51 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 7:30. I'm Rob Taylor. The Department of Homeland Security says ICE agents arrested 13 people outside of a PennDOT driver's license center in Armstrong County. This happened on Friday. DHS says ICE responded to calls from the East Franklin Police Department because of a, quote, abnormally large amount of individuals, end quote, outside the driver's license center in Katanning. Now, those arrested were from countries such as Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Turkmenistan. DHS, which referred to those arrested as, quote, illegal aliens, and, quote, said one of the suspects resisted arrest and assaulted a local officer. The incident is under investigation. Well, Pittsburgh police have filed criminal attempted homicide and aggravated assault charges against a woman accused of shooting a man in Larimer on Monday. Police say 36-year-old Latasha Thorne shot a man while he was holding a child along Mayflower Street. The man who was shot is still recovering. Child was not injured. Criminal complaint says after Thorne fired shots, someone fired shots at her, but she was not struck. Right now, Thorne is still at large. A woman was trapped underneath a truck following a rollover crash involving a tractor-trailer on I-79. This happened Saturday afternoon on the northbound side near Coriopolis. First responders had to use airbags to lift the truck up enough for the woman to be rescued. She was taken to the hospital in stable condition. Well, a man has been sentenced to 15 years in federal prison after being convicted on child porn charges. 45-year-old Justin Hughes of Pittsburgh was sentenced by a federal judge on Thursday. Authorities say Hughes emailed 11 videos and one image of child porn to a person in Ohio back in 2022. He pleaded guilty in November of last year. Hughes was also ordered to serve 10 years probation. KDK Radio News Time at 7:32. We have the AccuWeather forecast coming up.
If you want to know how good it feels to get professional paint work inside your home, go with CertaPro Painters. Hi, this is Larry Richard, and a big opportunity right now. Take advantage of the spring sales event for 10% off qualifying projects through May 15th. And remember, each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here in our community. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
Aetna was there for me as I was going through a rough medical patch this year. I had peace of mind, which helped with my healing.
Those words from a real Aetna Medicare Advantage member speak to why U.S. News & World Report named us a best Medicare Advantage company. Because we show up on calls with members and doctors' offices when requested. We show up with the latest in online tools for easier access to healthcare. We show up for you. Because that's how healthier happens together. Member feedback has been edited for length and clarity.
Pros, just because something on the job runs out doesn't mean you have to. Order it on the Lowe's app.
MyLowe's Pro Rewards members get free same-day delivery on eligible orders over $25. Get the fasteners, hardware, or tools you need to keep the job moving. Order by 2 p.m. and get eligible in-stock items delivered right to your job site by 8 p.m. Members get more at Lowe's. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Subject to availability. Restrictions and terms at lowes.com/shipping terms. Subject to change.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Watch for a couple of showers early this Easter morning. Otherwise, it's a cloudy and cooler day in store with a high of 50, leading into a colder night tonight with some clouds and a low of 35. Tomorrow brings a shower or two with a little bit of sun at times and a high of 51. But colder Tuesday with a morning snow shower, then decreasing clouds, high 40. For AccuWeather, I'm LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, back to it on Monday. Having a great weekend. Colin Dunlap, 2 to 6. I'll catch you on Monday right here, KDK.
All right, the 10th caller right now wins a gift certificate, $25 to Janoski's in Clinton, 412-922-1020. Let's get back to Doug and his guest, Steve Rapaski. Doug.
So, Steve, when we left at the last segment, we were talking about education. It's something you and I do a lot of.
Even when we're not trying to do education, I think it's just that one of those natural. It flows with the.
Yeah. The whole break are talking about. So when do they hatch out? And I've got some that look this way. So yes, he's educating me.
Yeah. Well, it goes both ways. I mean, even when you and I just talk, there's always some kind of education going. I think that's part of our nature too. I mean, we want to help people. We also have a job to do in certain circumstances, and in my world, at least with the pest control and beekeeping and whatever it is, in order to understand the end process or the end goal, you have to be educated about the process and what that all means and what does it look like and the timeline of all that and why it's important to do it this at a certain time versus not doing anything at all or emptying the toolbox, if you will.
So how receptive are clients to this? Because everyone hates bugs.
Yeah, that's a loaded question, for sure. But as I always say, society as a whole really just hates. They hate stinging insects. They hate bugs in general. They don't care what it is. Just get it. It's the not in my backyard syndrome, right? They're great, just not here. A lot of customers or clients that I have are fairly receptive, especially when it comes to the mason bees. And when you explain to them that, hey, this is what's going on, and they're really good. They'll be gone in about 4 to 6 weeks. And do you have a garden? Do you have flowers? And people are very, very open to that. But there's some people that when you talk to them, I might as well just talk to the wall because you go through the educational spiel, which might only be a minute or two, just giving them a brief breakdown. And at the end, they're like, okay, yeah, it's great. How fast can you get here? So it depends on the person. A lot of people they want a sterile environment. They don't want to be bothered by anything. But unfortunately, those same people just assume that they just go to the grocery store and get their fruits and vegetables and flowers and whatever it is. And that's society. I mean, you have them all over the place. But education is key, and I think that's where, as a beekeeper and pest control with bee control, part of my, I don't want to call it a sales pitch, but, just trying to naturally educate people of, hey, this is why you make the decisions you're making, whether you're putting a honey super on for producing excess honey or whether you're hiring a pest control company to get rid of a potential threat to your domicile.
So how did the honeybees do over that winter? Was it a tough winter?
In general or mine? Mine, not so well.
In general, then.
In general.
So what do you mean by not so well?
Well, my life gets really hectic, just like yours, and a lot of things go on and life gets in the way. And I didn't take care of mine over the winter as well as I should have. So I had a little bit higher loss than normal, which is not a big deal. We recover, we bounce back. Bees are pretty easy to get back up in numbers. As a whole, we just sent out the surveys to all of our beekeepers in Pennsylvania as well as nationally to see what our winter losses are like. So we won't have those results for another month. But locally, from what I'm hearing, a lot of people had pretty decent survival rates. So that's good. I mean, some of the newer beekeepers lost their bees, which is normal. When you filter that out, we're talking probably 15% maybe, which is high. It's higher than we want. But in general, I think we'll be okay. But typically, from a historical standpoint, last year we had a very big swarm year, lots of swarms out there. And from what I've noticed over the last 20 or so years, the winter following that big swarm year, we have a bigger die-off of honeybees for whatever reason it may be. So we're seeing die-off, but the colonies that are alive are doing well. So, and I got a lot of calls already last week with this 80-degree spring weather of honeybees that survived in people's houses, and now they want them removed and relocated. And
I keep forgetting to look, but last April when we had that storm, it cracked a black cherry tree in half.
Yeah,
and there was a feral colony, and it flew all the way through fall. So I'm hoping it made it because I did see lots of honeybees when that hellebore was blooming in January.
Yeah, we were talking off break. The hellebores are one of those nice early spring pollen sources and whatnot. But honeybees are doing well. Just in general, they're doing well. I mean, we hear all over the news about the honeybee population collapsing and things along those lines. Honeybees are not collapsing. I mean, beekeepers have a steady hold on the population and what they're doing. Are they still experiencing problems? Absolutely. But the nice thing about honeybees, unlike cattle or anything else, if we have a 50% die-off in the winter, it's horrible. But we can, because of their life cycle, we can bounce back pretty quick and get our numbers back up. If you lose 50% of your cattle herd, you're not returning to normal numbers the next year. So our biggest concerns with honeybees is certainly the losses every winter, but it's what's causing those losses. Why are we losing? Historically, back in the 70s and 80s and early 90s, when I was a kid, if you lost 10%, that was a high winter loss. Now, 10%, 20%, 25% is normal. Which is unfortunate. We just have to get through all the hurdles that are causing this decline, which ties right back into the native pollinators too. I mean, the things that are affecting our honeybees, which are non-native, they're from Europe, are certainly affecting our native pollinators, whether it's habitat loss, chemical use, those types of things.
Well, speaking of education, if somebody is thinking about being a beekeeper, you need to learn bee science and you need to have a mentor.
Biology is the root of everything. Whether you're gardening or whether you're beekeeping, whether you're an arborist, you have to understand the biology. I always talk when I teach classes for beekeeping. Beekeeping is both an art and a science. The science we could teach you. There's books written on it. The biology is there. Biology does not change for the most part. The art of beekeeping is applying that science. How do you take what you learn and apply it to whatever practice that is, whether it's planting peas on March 17th, putting garlic in, you're not going to go to a big box store and buy a tomato plant and stick it in your garden right now. Biologically, there's a reason for that. They need heat.
Some people will.
Well, I thought about it the other day when I was buying my peas. I thought I should take a picture for Doug and put this in my garden. But yeah, it's education, is a key component in everything in life. I mean, we have to have, however you get your education, it's very important. And we try our best at both Bee Control and Meadow Sweet Apiaries to educate folks, even just at a basic level of, okay, here's what's happening, this is why it's happening, and then here's your options as to how to handle it. You could let it alone, as we talked off break. That hornet's nest 45 feet up in a maple is probably not going to bother you. That hornet's nest that's right above your door as you enter your house, you might have, you talked about going into the greenhouse and having paper wasps.
Yeah.
That's a potential risk there. So.
It is amazing to me for the paper wasps and for like the bald-faced hornets to see where those nests, is nest the right word?
Yeah.
Were all season long where I was working underneath it or kayaking underneath it or whatever. And then when the leaves fall off the trees, like, oh my gosh, there was a big nest right there, and I never knew it.
Right. Yeah, and that's part of the education too. Is that a lot of the phone calls we get, especially later in the summer with yellow jackets and whatnot. Most of what's happening in nature is not a problem until you see it. Right. So if you're afraid of something and you see it, then all of a sudden it becomes an issue. You've paddled under a hornet's nest before. I've walked under nests before, walked over nests before, and if they're not bothering you, you don't notice it, it's not a problem. But as soon as you start getting bothered, then it becomes a problem. And that's where the issue is with, a lot of these mason bees and whatnot. They've been there for years, more than likely, going in your patio furniture. You just happen to not be there at the time that you see them. So now that you see them, it becomes a problem, and we have to address it. But it is neat to see where some of these insects are nesting. I mean, I pulled a tarp away from when I was cleaning out the garden area, and there was an old yellow jacket nest in there. I never noticed it because I never went over there. Now it's like, oh, but they pick the same general areas, the same type of sunny areas. You'll probably see, now that you know where that wasp nest was from last year, there's a good chance you're going to be more observant now going in that greenhouse, and you're going to start to say, oh, there they are. They're starting to
I have already seen them in there trying to make a nest.
Well, we're coming out of hibernation right now.
When we come back, I want to talk all about real honey.
Yes.
Real honey, R-E-A-L. We'll talk about it when we come back on the other side. Don't forget, next hour, Easter traditions and more. From that ham to lamb, it's all on the Coons Cooking Hour today with your Pratt Pack, KDKA.
Every Tuesday morning at 7:20, listen for Inside Independence Health, a look at all things healthcare with the experts from Independence Health System. It's brought to you by Independence Health System. Expert care here.
News Radio, KDKA, Sports.
Sports, brought to you by Coons Market with 8 locations to serve you a Pittsburgh tradition. Nick York double in the bottom of the ninth to drive in Brian Reynolds. Bucks win in a walk-off 3-2 against Baltimore. 2 teams again today, 1:35 first pitch, 93-7 the Fan. Men's Final Four, UConn a winner, 71-62 over Illinois. They advanced to their 3rd title game in 4 years. Not the most aesthetically pleasing Final Four game ever, but UConn made threes and Illinois couldn't execute. The Huskies 12 three-pointers and most in a Final Four in their program history. Wolverines destroyed Arizona in the first half on their way to a 91-73 Final Four win. Michigan again will play UConn tomorrow night in the national title game, and it was the 5th time in 5 games during the 2026 NCAA tournament that Michigan scored at least 90 points. Women's final today, UCLA taking on South Carolina. Evgeny Malcolm got the hat trick. Penn's defeated Florida 9-4 yesterday. 2 teams again today at 3. And at the Texas Open, round 3, suspended because of inclement weather. But your leader through 6 yesterday still remains Ryan McIntyre. He is at 15 under and has a 2-shot lead. Riverhounds, a 1-1 draw against Indianapolis last night. Elliot Goldthrop scored the late equalizer. More sports, 937thefan.com.
The biggest reason Metropolitan Window Company has been in business since 1978 is our huge list of satisfied customers.
John, Maggie, and Justin Schmutzer here from Metropolitan Window Company, Pittsburgh's locally owned and family-operated window and door company for over 47 years.
When you choose Metropolitan Window Company, you're getting expertise and attention to detail from a trusted business that puts your needs first.
You're also getting our exclusive Infinity from Marvin 100% fiberglass windows that are built for life.
The most important part of a window is the framing. Fiberglass frames won't lose their dimensional integrity. They're the strongest, longest-lasting window you can buy.
And right now, you can save 20% and get financing on every window and door product we offer.
Stop by one of our showrooms, visit us at metropolitanwindows.com, or give us a call at 412-655-8411.
PA 1565.
Hey gardeners, why not come to Sorgles this week? Hi, this is Randy Sorgel from Sorgles in Wexford. We have our seeds, our seed starting supplies, soils, trees and shrubs, perennials, and everything you need. Fruit trees, we have a great selection. But coming to Sorgles means so much more. After shopping for your gardening supplies, visit the Home Accents, because if you have small children or grandchildren, you have to see our baby apparel. Of course, we have the home decor, our bakery, deli, gift shop, Naturally Sorgel's gluten-free store, ice cream, Arsenal cider, our fruit market with fresh fruit, jams, and jellies, and so much more. We have the tiny town for the kids and the farm animals. So make a day of it. We promise to put a smile on your face. Sorgel's, 724-935-2090, just off the I-79 Wexford exit.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com KDKA.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
Doug Oster tells you how to keep it green. The Organic Gardener is on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Well, there is honey, but then there's real honey. Here's Doug.
My guest is Steve Rapaski from Bee Control and Meadow Sweet Apiaries. We are going to talk about real honey in a second, but I want to tell you about a pretty cool event that's happening next weekend, next Saturday and Sunday. The Orchid Society of Western Pennsylvania is having their big show. It's at the Crown Plaza Suites, Pittsburgh South. It's right across from South Hills Village. All the information's at DougOster.com. But, I mean, bring your camera. There are going to be hundreds of orchids. They're selling orchids there. Also giving you free information about growing orchids, repotting your orchid for you. It's really cool. And like I said, free educational lectures there. Go to DougOster.com. All the information's there. So what is real honey, Steve? And why do I say that? Why do I say real honey? Because is there fake honey?
There's lots of fake honey. You know, you just don't know anymore. And unfortunately, we've been battling this in the industry for 20 years now, if not longer, of a standard of what honey is and what is real honey. I mean, there's been a recent court issue where they finally defined milk, and that almond milk is not real milk, and milk is cow milk, etc. So we're fighting that for the honey, and we're slowly making progress. The problem is there's no clear means of determining what is adulterated honey versus what is real honey, right? So you hear a lot of misconceptions out there, falsehoods of, if you have honey that doesn't crystallize, that's not real, or if you shake it up and it does this, it does, there's all these different things out. What I tell people is the only way you could tell if it's real honey is that you know the beekeeper. That's the true definition of, hey, I know where my honey's coming from because I know the beekeeper.
Well, the reason I thought of it was just the other day I had some of your honey, the dark honey,
the fall
honey, with some
made from the invasive knotweed plant.
Yeah. Thank goodness for that knotweed.
Invasives.
And I had it with some yogurt, and the taste of real honey, it's unmatched.
Just different.
Yes,
it's just different.
And it never goes bad, which is really something interesting.
Well, they've found honey in the Egyptian tombs over 3,000 years old that was still technically edible. And when you say it goes bad, there's a couple different definitions there. One is that some people say, well, it crystallizes, that's bad. Well, crystallization is normal with honeys, but some honey does not crystallize. Some honey crystallizes very fast. Like the fall honey will crystallize very fast. And it's determined by the amount of fructose and glucose in the honey, the sugars. So the more glucose it has, the faster it'll crystallize. Well, some of the early spring honeys have lower glucose honey or lower glucose levels, so they don't crystallize as fast as like goldenrod honey, which has a high glucose. But crystallization doesn't really dictate whether it's real or not, but it's one of the factors of honey. The biggest thing is, if you can, know your beekeeper. Somebody posted on Facebook the other day in a local group that I'm on, hey, I live in a particular town very close to me. I'm looking for honey. Does anybody know? Well, I put on it, hey, I live in Dormont. I sell at Sewickley Farmers Market every Saturday. And followed that was about 70 different comments of places out in Ohio that sells honey and box stores that sell honey. And that's fine. I mean, people go, but we talk about education. We have a great following at Sewickley Farmers Market. If you've never been, it's a farmers market. I mean, it's a farmer market. You have to know where that honey is sourced. Not only just know the beekeeper. There are some beekeepers that have large numbers of hives, but also purchase honey from out of state just to keep up with their retail sales, right? So even though it might have a local label on it that says Sam's Farms in Pittsburgh, Sam might be buying honey from Ohio or New York, and that's still technically local honey, but it's not. You're not supporting the true local beekeepers, right? So, and I might get some flack from that because I have commercial beekeeping friends that buy honey and sell it. But the key is to make sure that it's at least made in the United States. That's key. If you buy honey from Ohio and it's sold in Pennsylvania, great. But what we're having an issue with is honey coming in from China. Not even coming from China. It's coming from India. India sources it from China. They manipulate it. They mix it with rice sugar. And now you have something that looks like honey, tastes like honey, but there's no DNA.
Wait, kind of tastes like honey.
Kind of tastes, yeah.
It's not. There's something about, again,
real honey.
The real honey that once you get used to it, you can't go to the other stuff.
No, you get those little packets in some of your restaurants. It says USDA Grade A honey. USDA Grade A means absolutely nothing other than it's just a branding that says whatever. But yeah, you taste it. This just has a different taste, a different look, a different feel to it.
And the positives of honey?
Everything. I mean, there's it's antimicrobial. It has vitamins and minerals and little micrograins of pollen in it. It's going to boost your immune system. It's going to give you more energy. You get up in the morning, you take a teaspoon of honey. It helps with your digestion. If you take a teaspoon in the evening, it helps with your sleep. I had a bad head cold a couple of weeks ago. I went through a jar of honey a day mixing with my tea. I was just going nuts with it. So there's benefits. It's good for healing wounds, and it just tastes good. That knotweed on yogurt. Allergies, keeping your head clean, mental health. There's, of course, medically you could argue, well, there's no scientific studies, but honey is a natural food that's been around for thousands of years, and people are using it for a reason. So it's one of those things that, know your beekeeper and enjoy that honey. Whether you use a teaspoon a week or a jar a day, I use it to grill shrimp, and pork, and you put it in yogurt, dark honey on vanilla ice cream. To die for. So
that's Steve Rapaski from Bee Control in Meadow Sweet Apiaries. He's a friend of ours, and I'm going to score a little honey after the show's over here. Next week, my guest is Bill Senk from the Remember Me Rose Garden. We'll be talking about that event that I'm going to be speaking at. We're also talking trees with Davey Tree Expert Company next week. Remember, organic gardeners, you make our world brighter and safer with each seed you sow in every garden you grow.
All right, gentlemen, great job as always. Stay tuned. News at 8, and we're talking Easter traditions today on the Coons Cooking Hour on KDKA.
The Big K Morning Show with Larry Richards.
Pittsburgh Mayor Corey O'Connor. Very atypical with the NFL draft and all the things that are going on.
We're all excited. It's coming fast. But we also want Pittsburghers, and I say this wherever I go, this is also your city, this is your draft. We're going to have hundreds of thousands of people coming from across the country, but we want Pittsburghers to be ambassadors.
Weekday mornings 5:30 to 10 on the Voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
At Odyssey, we believe in creating a diverse and inclusive workforce. We also value the power of community and encourage local organizations to help us in referring qualified applicants to our stations. If you're a community organization interested in receiving our vacancy information, simply email equalemployment@odyssey.com. You'll be notified of all our open positions. That's equalemployment@odyssey.com. And for all our listeners, please visit odysseyinc.com/careers for a list of job openings at all Odyssey radio stations.
Bring in the spring gardening season at the Remember Me Rose Garden's first volunteer event of 2026. On Saturday, April 18th at 9 a.m., join celebrated gardening expert Doug Oster for a morning of practical tips on growing roses, perennials, and garden treasures for beginners and experienced gardeners alike. Located in Somerset County, this beloved garden serves as a living tribute to the 40 heroes of Flight 93. Learn more at remembermerosegarden.org.
Don't delay in getting that plumbing repair done. Call Palucci Plumbing today for all of your plumbing needs. From trenchless sewer repair and waterline repairs and replacement, hot water tanks, sewer camera inspections, to Pittsburgh potty repairs, no job is too small for Palucci Plumbing. Owners Amy and Nick Palucci have been in business for 26 years, so give them a call for your next plumbing repair or replacement. Palucci Plumbing, 412-782-5050. That's
That's 412-782-5050.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce. Pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, so when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA FM HD2 Pittsburgh, W261AX Pittsburgh.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 50 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 8 o'clock. I'm Rob Taylor. The Washington County coroner says a person died in a wrong-way crash on Saturday. That crash happened around 6 o'clock in Donegal Township. The driver was going the wrong way in the westbound lane of Route 40 at speeds above 80 miles per hour. That driver then crashed with SUV head-on that was driving near the intersection with Lake Road. That driver was pronounced dead around 9 o'clock Saturday night. No word on the driver's identity. State police are investigating that crash. Second crew member aboard the F-15 fighter jet that was shot down over Iran on Friday has been rescued by U.S. military forces who conducted a rescue mission on Saturday night. The crew member who was rescued was the weapons systems officer aboard the two-seater aircraft that was down by Iranian fire on Friday. First crew member, the pilot, was rescued on Friday by U.S. search and rescue personnel. Now, President Donald Trump, in a post on social media, hailed the rescue of the second crew member, calling it, quote, one of the most daring search and rescue operations in U.S. history, and writing, quote, we got him. In the post, Trump also said the operation unfolded over several hours and involved dozens of aircraft. He said the rescued crew member is a colonel who sustained injuries but will be just fine. Trump adding he's safe and sound. Department of Homeland Security says ICE agents arrested 13 people outside of a PennDOT driver's license center in Armstrong County. The arrest happened on Friday. DHS says ICE responded to calls from the East Franklin Police Department because of a, quote, abnormally large amount of individuals outside the driver's license center in Katanning. Those arrested were from countries such as Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Turkmenistan. DHS, which referred to those arrested as, quote, illegal aliens, said one of the suspects resisted arrest and assaulted a local officer. The entire incident is under investigation. KDK Radio News Time, it's 8:02. Coming up next, the AccuWeather forecast.
Soldiers and Sailors Hall and Museum recognizes Pennsylvania's combat veterans who have received medals for gallantry. With this Hall of Valor moment, here's the president of Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Hall and Museum, John McCabe.
Second Lieutenant Michael E. Steffen of Allegheny County was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross in the Republic of Vietnam on October 30 and 31, 1970. Lieutenant Steffen distinguished himself while serving as an aircraft commander of a CH-47 helicopter during relief operations near Da Nang. When extremely heavy rains caused flooding and left many people homeless, Lieutenant Stefan assisted in evacuation operations. Despite extremely hazardous flying conditions, Stefan skillfully piloted his aircraft and set the entire aircraft into the water to save several stranded people. After completing operations near Da Nang, Lieutenant Stefan flew his aircraft to Uduk, where he rescued nearly 200 more flood victims. After completion of the evacuation, Lieutenant Stefan returned to the battered area to deliver vital food and supplies to the homeless.
For the perfect wedding up to 300, the magnificent ballroom and balcony is a truly unique setting to begin your new life together. For information, visit soldiersandsailorshall.org.
Suffering from peripheral neuropathy? Learn how over 15,000 sufferers regained their comfort, mobility, and quality of life with Tri-State Neuropathy Center's successful treatment plan that is FDA cleared, non-invasive, and drug-free. Here's Sean Ritchie, DC, and Tri-State's founder about one of their many satisfied patients.
One thing I've learned about people that get numb with their neuropathy, they have balance issues, just like Bob from Gibsonia. His numbness got so bad, he started to have to shuffle and was starting to have some falls. After completing our FDA-cleared treatment program, he is doing so much better. In fact, he was at his friend's house and he was at the American Legions, and they couldn't believe the difference that they saw in him.
Tri-State Neuropathy Centers help Bob. Let them help you next. Call 724-940-9000 for a free consultation. That's 724-940-9000. Tri-State Neuropathy Centers, the leader in treating peripheral neuropathy. Learn more at marydanstin.com.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Easter Sunday starts with a couple of showers, otherwise rather cloudy and cooler with a high of 50. Then colder for tonight with some clouds and a low of 35. Ahead of a Monday that brings sun and clouds and a passing shower or two, the high 51. Then a snow shower gives way to decreasing clouds and colder conditions Tuesday, high 40. For AccuWeather, I'm LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The following program is paid for by Coons Quality Market. This is the Coons Cooking Hour. The crew from Coons Market are here. It's the great food you grew up with and the recipes that make Pittsburgh someplace special.
Well, it's the Easter Bunny and my sidekick. Happy Easter to one and all. All of our stores are closed today, but we'll open first thing tomorrow morning with regular hours. But today it's about Easter traditions, always one of our popular shows. So if you want to talk ham or lamb as far as the main entree or sides or desserts or anything, we'd love to hear from you. So get on the line, 866-391-1020, 866-391-1020, and one of you are going to take home a $25 gift certificate from Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition. So let me begin with a side with you, and exactly what are they and how do you make them? Because I've always been a part of my Easter tradition, although not now. Family pretty much grown and on their own. But I remember back in the day, there was always a big Corningware container of scallop potatoes. What are scallop potatoes? And if anybody has a recipe for scallop potatoes, call me. I get these little urges. What can I say? Scallop potatoes, Frank. Good morning.
Oh, good morning, everyone. Yeah, scallop potatoes is just the sliced potatoes, and then it's a white sauce, which is the butter, flour, and then some cheese. I would put a cheese in there just to give it some more flavor, and then obviously your seasonings. Au gratin potatoes, the other one, which has cheddar cheese in it, same thing, but it's cheddar cheese in it. And these are things that are just easy to make, or you can make them easy to make, by doing. Betty Crocker has scallop potatoes, different flavors, all different ones where everything's in the box. It's add water, and they give you the instructions to cook in the casserole. Or you can slice everything down yourself, and you can make it different. You can use a different potato, like you like it less starchy. You can go into the Yukon Golds, which is going to have more of a buttery flavor. Same with the red potatoes. We're going to have a more mild flavor because of less starch. You can do something like that. That's one of those things that around, scallop potatoes and au gratin potatoes go so well with ham, and there's where that's born. When you get ham, that's what I always comes right into mind is scallop potatoes, maybe some green beans on the side.
But this is what's amazing about food. I haven't thought of scallop potatoes in decades. My mom and dad have both been dead over 20 years. I mean, I haven't. And as you are basically in studio with me in the 6 a.m. hour today, and we were recording commercials that'll start next week. You walked out to do some work. I took over and started hosting with Doug. First thing came in my mind was Easter, Corningware, and scalloped potatoes. I have no idea where it came from. I must be craving them. But we never had an Easter without a ham and scalloped potatoes. We didn't have mashed potatoes like Thanksgiving. We always had scalloped potatoes, and I never knew what they were. So there's no like special like sauce or anything to them. They're just grated, a little bit of flour, a little bit of water. Is that it?
Yeah, it's that butter, flour, water for that white sauce, and then you get the some cheese and add it into there. Whether you're using a grating cheese or a white cheddar, something like that, gets a little more flavor into it. You don't have to put the cheese in it. I just prefer it. And then obviously, again, the au gratin potatoes is like its cousin. You know, where it's using cheddar, it's going to be a richer potato. Where scalloped potatoes really come in. With the leftover ham. So after you have leftover ham, slice it up, dice it up, and you can put it into the scalloped potatoes. And so that's where it also works out well, is for a good option for leftovers, and make a nice hearty either whole meal or side doing it that way.
And by the way, the specials that are underway are still, even though we're closed today, underway until Tuesday. And one of the things was limit one per family Coons Reward Card, smoked, fully cooked Amish Country Farm brand, spiral cut half ham, 8-pound, average $2.49. So why do some people like the spiral cut hams?
It's the ease of cutting it. So it's already cut. It's around 2/3 cut. There is the end where the slices would get too small. So you have some ham on the end that you can use for later, just doing chunks, or you can slice it up a little bit off yourself. But it's mostly for ease. It also works very well for a glaze. So you're used to glazing a ham, putting it on the outside of the ham, which already has a rind just from the smoking process. And so it's really not penetrating the ham as much unless you put scores in it. Where the spiral sliced is going to allow those flavors to get inside a little better. You know, and with a spiral ham, now we have to remember all these smoked hams, these are already cooked. They really are fully cooked. The only thing you're doing is rendering the fat in it, breaking that down and those flavors. But, you know, so it's a lot easier than turkey where you have to worry about temperature as much. I do recommend going up to that 165. But, you know, or you can go lower though, because it's already fully cooked. No one's going to get sick from that. You know, it's just the weather, just getting it up the temperature, and again, rendering that fat in there. But I always recommend taking that, if you're baking it in the oven, I take that sliced side down and put it down, face down in the casserole dish, so that it doesn't dry out. And the juices and the glaze, putting it on top I don't put the glaze on till the very end, but you know, like 10-15 minutes in the oven, that's it. When it has the glaze on. But when you put that glaze on, especially with Steve Rapaski, it's a good day for him to come in, because a lot of people are putting a honey glaze on. You know, I put a honey and the brown sugar on, and let that, when it cooks down, it drips down through those slices too as it goes down to the bottom of the casserole. So, you know, it works out good. Plus the spiral hams are smaller. You know, you have less waste. You have to remember, if you're buying a whole semi-boneless ham, you're buying 14 pounds of ham. So it's going to probably end up being about 10 pounds of ham. That's a lot of ham. So you got to have a lot of people coming over to enjoy that. You're going to have a lot of leftovers. In a spiral, a lot of people are going to get that bone-in taste of a bone-in ham, but half as much. You know, even though you can buy a semi-boneless half ham, it's still a lot of carving, a lot of work. Getting around that bone. The bone's not straight down the center, you know, down the whole thing. It actually goes at an angle. You know, even when we cut them in half, we go at an angle so we don't get a big slice of bone. It looks like the bone's huge because you didn't really hit it in half. You kind of angled it. But the spiral is a lot more convenient. I mean, you know, our Amish one is actually we don't advertise as that, but it does have a honey glaze that comes with it as well. It's an incredible ham, and everyone that bought one this year, you'll see. It's an incredible. There was about a 2-year span where it wasn't available to us, and now it's, you know, it came back a couple years ago, about 3 years ago, and it's the same ham, and it's delicious.
So how do you know how thick or thin to cut a slice of ham, and how do you know per servings per plate? So how do you work and figure that out?
Well, you always figure either a quarter pound, a third of a pound on that ham, usually about a third of a pound per person. So per pound, there's going to be 3 people. But it all depends on what you're having with it. So if you're having a whole bunch of sides, it would be, you're going to eat less ham, obviously. But you're going to eat maybe closer to a half a pound if you're only having like 1 or 2 sides afterwards and you're not really having any appetizers with it. So it all depends on that. But a lot of times what people are doing, I'm do the same thing. I overbuy the ham, and the reason why is I have kids that are coming over. I have family that's coming, so I would buy more than necessary because I want them, especially my kids, I want them to have the leftovers so that they don't have to worry about dinner the next day or anything like that. That gives them some extra things to have. I did that Christmas with our prime rib, same thing. I gave them a bunch to go home because that saves them time cooking for another day or two, and they appreciate that as well. That's that giving side that you should have during the holidays, thinking about somebody, some other than just yourself, and help making sure that they have a little bit of extra time on their hands too, where they're busy, and give them some extra time by saving them from cooking a whole meal the next time.
All right, so 866-391-1020, Easter traditions, the topic of conversation. We want to hear from you. I have to believe next to Thanksgiving, Easter is probably the biggest leftover holiday. Because there's so many the eggs alone, the hard-boiled eggs alone can go for another week.
Oh, the eggs, you can go, some of those the egg cartons you'll see on the side, they have 6 weeks dates on them. I don't like leftover eggs. So if you cook enough eggs, that kind of time, you hard-boil those, you got a couple weeks on those, making sure, of course, they have to be nice and cool and this and that. And once you peel them, the clock starts ticking even faster. So watching that, and just know that in some of your recipes, you're using eggs that have been dyed, you're going to have some different colors show up. So if you were making a potato salad, for instance, or an egg salad, you might have some different colors that might show up if you're using the whites of those eggs. Even for deviled eggs, you're cutting those open, you might have some colored spots on there because some of that does penetrate through. So, but there's nothing like just growing up, we'd always find our Easter basket, and then we'd have our breakfast, hard-boiled eggs, crack them open, dip them in a little bit of salt, and enjoy a couple hard-boiled eggs, and, kind of start our day off like that. And then we never really had an Easter dinner at home. What we would do is we'd go out for brunch. So around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you'd have breakfast and lunch at the same time, brunch. Start off with your eggs and your sausage and bacon, and then go into your ham slice and maybe even lamb. There was a lot of times we went down to Shadow Lakes, had a nice buffet that we would go to. Those kind of things. My dad always looked at it as, my mom would cook every single night. And you came off of Thanksgiving and Christmas where we were split between my mom or my nana of who would prepare that meal. But then Easter would come along and say, you know what, she gets a break because it's not just cooking, it's also the cleanup from being at home. So she gets a break, and then we come out and have a nice brunch, and then you had like the rest of the, after you got home around 3 o'clock, you have the rest of the day to enjoy, the rest of the day outside or whatever you wanted to do, which was nice because, the weather's starting to get nice. Now this year, not so nice around Easter. It was beautiful yesterday, so we got to enjoy some nice weather. Now we're going to get about a week break here before the weekend comes up and it starts to warm up again. But, it's kind of like the beginning of spring, especially when it comes here in April, you're now in spring and you're starting to see, I know around my house, all these daffodils have been coming up, and it's just that feeling of spring. Hopefully that little bit of frost doesn't hurt things too bad.
All right, 866-391-1020, Easter traditions. We got Chuck and Shayla wants to talk about his world-famous kielbasa. Just saw a picture of it and it looked absolutely scrumptious. But again, you got a special tip, trick, recipe, dessert item. Hey, your scallop potato recipe, your favorite as far as ham, spiral or not. We want to hear from you. Let's get going. And, of course, what to do with those leftover hard-boiled eggs. 866-391-1020. All of our Coons Markets closed today, reopening at regular hours first thing tomorrow morning. Back with more in a moment. Again, 866-391-1020. Good morning.
Now more than ever, we're the station you can trust for the information you need. KDKA.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55 plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da! If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it.
Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of Essentials Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
You shouldn't go anywhere without Sniper. Larry Richard with Andy Amrine from EV True Value Hardware.
Sniper, your hospital-grade disinfectant, kills all those germs, bacteria, viruses, mold, everything, Larry. Sniper, your hospital-grade disinfectant. You need it for your home, your office, your car, everywhere. Let's get those germs killed now.
Simply spray and walk away. Available at participating True Value Hardware stores or online at disinfectwithsniper.com.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, so when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
The diet can continue Monday. This is the Coons Cooking Hour on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, we've got Barb, we've got Chuck. We want to hear from you as well, too. Easter traditions, 866-391-1020. Before we get to Chuck, Barb has been waiting in Hampton. She wants to talk hard-boiled eggs. How are you, Barb?
Okay, Frank. Good morning, Frank and Robin. Happy Easter.
You too.
Easter. This is a tradition that my husband's family had when I first met him, and well, this is over 50 years ago. It's very unusual. They take the hard-boiled eggs that are dyed, and they call it an egg cracking contest, and everybody's sitting around the table, and the bowl of hard-boiled eggs comes out. You pick your egg, and then you tap the egg to the person next to you. Whoever doesn't crack their egg when it's tapped, they're the champion, and then they go around the table. And usually there isn't anyone who really makes it all the way around the table, but it's great fun. Every age can play it. And we have done this every year since then in one form or another. This year, what's really going to be fun is we're all having a big contest now because we dyed our eggs. Nobody could really, some of my grandchildren came over to dye their eggs, but now there's a big text thing going back and forth. Who's got the champion egg? We're all taking pictures of our dyed egg. So that's an Easter tradition. Yeah.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah, it's neat because it gets everyone involved and everyone's, doing something. It's a good thing. But now you made it into a competition.
Yes.
So now we're going to see some the odds starting to get posted on like one of them betting sites.
Yeah, everybody's excited.
Hey,
no, that's great.
Barb, how about 50 years ago, though? Well, where did it go? I mean, honestly, I don't know about you, but I think about it a lot lately. It just seems like I was in my 40s. Time just goes by so quickly, doesn't it?
Well, it does, and I hear you talk a lot about those old times. And we made our children sit around the table for dinner, and we did that. It's much more challenging, I see, even for my daughter to do that with her kids today. But we were pretty strict about it. I mean, they were only allowed one sport, because we wanted to make sure we were able to eat dinner together. But we still try. I mean, like today, everybody's coming together, and I'm always excited when we can get everybody together for dinner.
That's a lot of work, though. Good for you. But do they bring a dish? Do they help you out a little bit?
Oh no, Rob, it's not me anymore. It's my daughter who's going to host.
Oh, so you see how happy she is now. See, she gets to sit back. Well, it's two things. It's nice to relax, but then you actually see something like a tradition that passed on to your daughter, too.
Do you know what I remember, honestly, with my 5 sisters and my mother? I don't ever remember anybody saying, that doesn't taste real good. Everybody loved everything. And I'm sure maybe there were some things that weren't as good, especially when my wonderful grandmother, Marie Bango, was getting older. But we were just so happy to be together that no matter what was going on, even if something got spilled or this or that, or somebody forgot to bring something, it's just about getting together with family, right?
Well, it is about getting together. And let me tell you, this is a very non-traditional dinner. My daughter said, Mom, I can only make homemade pizza and salad. And I said, I don't care. I'm trying a new recipe, a strawberry pretzel jello salad. I have never worked with jello, and I did it. It was an all-day affair yesterday making it. It's very complicated, but I will bring that. So yeah, very non-traditional Easter dinner today.
Nothing wrong with pizza and salad. It's in fact, hey, the less stress, the more time you get to spend together as a family.
Yeah, I'll
That's
be right.
true.
I'd be over for that. I like pizza.
Go ahead.
Yeah, my son-in-law makes the pizza from scratch. It's very good. So, yeah, but the point is we'll all be together.
And you know what? And I was just telling somebody yesterday whose parents are still with them, and they were kind of him-hawing around about, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. And I said, listen, go there, embrace it, because one day you wake up and it's no longer there. So make every second count, correct?
That's right. You got it.
All right, Barb. Hey, great call. We appreciate you. You have a great day.
You too. Happy Easter, guys.
Happy Easter.
All right, 866-391-1020. Your kids, I probably won't see mine today. I'll see them probably tomorrow. I saw my son last couple of days. I mean, and you know, people are like, well, you need to, but it's different today. They have their own lives. Your kids live away. My kids are on their own. You know, it's the world's different today, Frankie.
Yeah, well, 2 of my daughters, that'd be 2-hour drives for them.
Right.
My third daughter, she would be a 3.5-hour drive. You know,
they're adults.
But because 2 of them are next to each other, based practically in Ohio, and the third is in northern PA, so they're having their Easter together, the 3 of them. You know, but I'll talk to them. And today's my twins, the 2 of my girls, but twins, their birthday. So you know, happy 22nd birthday. And boy, that time goes fast.
Well, you want to hear something staggering? Today is my 44th consecutive Easter on KDKA radio.
Yeah, and that's an accomplishment.
Thank you very much.
Well, it is an accomplishment. How many people can say they've been in a job that long? It's like
1984.
You, Chuck, you know.
Yeah, Chuck. but here's the thing. I always got home in time to be with my kids, though, you know, when they were younger. So it actually worked out better because I got up early in the morning, and then I could go home and spend the entire day. And I worked so my colleagues could have the day off, so everybody won. It was a good deal.
It is. You get done, like, even from myself, you know, I'm here at the radio between 8 and 9. We do commercials first, you know, but, you know, I'm home by 10 o'clock when anybody would want to do anything anyway.
Absolutely.
So, you know, it's a little bit out to be able to have to be at work even on a holiday, but really it doesn't feel like it. Like when I don't have to dress up, that to me is a day off. And so, then I get home, and the rest of the day is whatever we want to do.
All right, 866-391-1020. Here he is. Oh, you know what? We got to go to a break. Chuck, don't go anywhere, because if I have to go to a break within a minute, I'm not going to get a chance to speak to you. But come on, folks, Easter traditions. And I got to tell you something. Barb, that was a unique call. I never expected something like that.
You know what calls I miss, too, about hearing about are the Ukrainian eggs, the decorated eggs that everyone made?
Yeah, listen.
That I hope people are still doing that.
Listen,
that tradition carried on.
My children's grandmother, Stevie Matrazzo, her mother before, and I think my children's mother, Kelly, can, and my daughter has tried. They're not Ukrainian. They have a Polish background. Some of my all-time favorites are those wonderful, beautiful eggs. They're incredible.
They're amazing. They're actually amazing.
We should sell those in the store.
How do you get them there? They're so fragile.
Believe me, their grandmother used to be a factory. She used to pump these things out like J&L and Aliquippa back in the day. It was amazing. All right, short break. We'll come back. Stay with us. We got, you know what else I remember about her she always had on Easter? Asparagus.
Yeah, well, that's a good item for
And
Easter.
speaking of asparagus, when the stores open tomorrow, we've got spring asparagus for $2.49 a pound.
That's the most tender now.
It's delicious. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More to come. Easter traditions. Let's go. KDKA.
I have questions for you. Do you think any of us grow up wanting to be fat and unhealthy? Do you think any of us want to be put on more meds? Do you think any of us want to keep buying bigger clothes year after year? How about feeling tired all the time and not feeling good? I think not. This is Dr. Shufo from the Weight Loss and Wellness Center. Many of these issues are positively changed with our diet. You don't know what to put in your mouth? You don't have the willpower? That's why you deal with me. Call me at 1-800-900-THIN. We can make great things happen in a short period of time.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
Being diagnosed with leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, or one of over 100 other types of blood cancer makes people want more time to do the things they love. We are Blood Cancer United. We do the most for more people with blood cancer. Join us at bloodcancerunited.org.
For generations, you've listened to us in your kitchen, catching baseball games on your front porch, and ending your day as your bedtime buddy. Now, you can watch us every day on your TV with our new KDKA Radio YouTube page or by clicking on KDKARadio.com. It's presented by Metropolitan Windows. Same great content, more live visuals. The voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 48 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 8:30. I'm Rob Taylor. Washington County Coroner says a person died in a wrong-way crash on Saturday evening. Crash happened around 6 o'clock in Donegal Township. The driver was going the wrong way in the westbound lane of Route 40 at speeds above 80 miles per hour and then collided head-on with an SUV near the intersection of Lake Road. Driver was pronounced dead around 9:15 at a local hospital. State police are investigating. A man has been sentenced to 15 years in federal prison after being convicted on child porn charges. 45-year-old Justin Hughes of Pittsburgh was sentenced by a federal judge on Thursday. Authorities say Hughes emailed 11 videos and 1 image of child pornography to a person in Ohio back in 2022. He pleaded guilty in November of last year. Hughes was also ordered to serve 10 years in prison. A woman was trapped underneath a truck following a rollover crash involving a tractor-trailer on I-79. This happened Saturday afternoon on the northbound side of 79 near Coriopolis. First responders had to use airbags of sort to lift the truck enough for the woman to be rescued. She's in a hospital in stable condition this morning. Well, the Department of Homeland Security says ICE agents arrested 13 people outside of a PennDOT driver's license center in Armstrong County. This happened on Friday. DHS says ICE responded to calls from the East Franklin Police Department about a, quote, abnormally large amount of individuals outside the driver's license center in Katanning. Those arrested were from countries such as Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Turkmenistan. DHS, which referred to those arrested as, quote, illegal aliens, said one of the suspects resisted arrest and a local officer was assaulted. The incident is under investigation. KDKA Radio News Time is 8:32. We have the AccuWeather forecast just 2 minutes away.
Hey, it's Marty. Are you tired of pain or fear of falling that's holding you back, struggling with balance, neuropathy, or joint pain? At Monroeville Physical, spelled F-Y-Z-I-C-A-L. Physical therapy is done differently because you are different. Folks, this place is amazing. I've seen it firsthand. Shoulder pain, knee pain, balance issues. They attack it and work it, and it works. Call today. Monroeville Physical, F-Y-Z-I-C-A-L, 412-457-8200.
At Easy Cater, we believe every workday gets better with great food. The 9 a.m. staff meeting? How about breakfast burritos and lots of coffee? Big client presentation at noon? Let's do Mediterranean bowls. Accounting's gotta work late. Keep them pepped up with spicy noodles. With Easy Cater, you get a huge variety of favorite restaurants with tools to help meet dietary needs and stay on budget, all on one platform. So make every workday better with Easy Cater. Start an order at easycater.com.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, so when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred roofing replacement contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Watch for a couple of showers early this Easter morning. Otherwise, it's a cloudy and cooler day in store with a high of 50, leading into a colder night tonight with some clouds and a low of 35. Tomorrow brings a shower or two with a little bit of sun at times and a high of 51. But colder Tuesday with a morning snow shower, then decreasing clouds, high 40. For AccuWeather, I'm LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The following program is paid for by Coons Quality Market. The diet can continue Monday. This is the Coons Cooking Hour on 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Hey, don't forget all of our Coons markets closed today so the employees can spend the day with their family. We hope you're enjoying your family and friends today on this Easter. And don't forget, we'll be opening bright and early tomorrow morning with our regular hours. Out to Shaler to talk kielbasa with Chuck. Chuck, they looked absolutely delicious. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Happy Easter, guys.
Happy Easter.
I'm glad your store's closed today. That's really nice, Frank, because everybody deserves to have a little bit of holiday off.
Everyone deserves it. We do that, for the employees, of course, and it is, it is a holiday, and we really don't. Do you really need to pick up go grocery shopping today? You really just don't need that today. Take the day, enjoy it with your family, or just relax and it's like a free day off. Take it. Enjoy.
Absolutely. I made two different kielbases. I made the Smurdel, and I made the Bosky, the spicy one.
Yeah.
And they're both really good kielbases. The Smurdel has a little bit more snap to it. If you break it.
Yeah, the casing on it's I don't know if it's just. It might be a little bit thicker. I don't know. They're both, the big deal about them. You go to more of the national brands, they grind everything too fine. With the Smurdels and Boski, and Boski's made by Smith's, and their kielbasa, and even our own Coons kielbasa is all coarse ground because that's what it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be a big hot dog.
I liked it because you get the skin is more crunchier on it. They're two completely. They're both good.
Oh, they're different.
Completely different,
for sure. And you had that extra spice to it with the Boski.
Well, that's what I do when I made it last night, but I put 2 things of smoker chips on. I like to get some extra smoke on it, crisp them up, and then today I'll slice them up and I'll heat them up before we go down to my mother-in-law's house for Easter.
That's a good idea to smoke them yesterday. Get that smoke already on it before you heat them back up.
But the other thing you was talking about, the gratin potatoes and stuff, you forgot about funeral fries.
I don't know what those are. What's a funeral fry?
You know what I think they call it that's the original name. They call it something. It's you take hash browns, sour cream, cream cheese, cream of chicken soup, and you put it in you bake it like you do an au gratin potato, and then you put like crunchies like cornflakes or the onion. It's like really, you bake it, and it's nice and creamy, and you got a crunchy top on there. They might call it by something else, but I think that's original. It was maybe something back in the day. You took it to a wake or whatever. I mean, we've always had that for Easter and many other holidays, and it's one of the first dishes to go.
That sounds absolutely delicious. I've never heard that recipe. I know my wife would love that recipe.
Just look up funeral fries. It's a simple recipe, you know, and it's really good. You won't have any leftovers.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
You know,
it is. It's good.
I know some people that like horseradish on the side when they're eating their ham on Easter. So
hash brown casserole.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. So
is that what it is?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, Chuck. What were you going to say?
And then you earlier somebody was talking about the pizzas.
Yes.
That's what I made for Good Friday. I got the little shells. And I made veggie pizzas on a grill.
There you go.
You know, cook something without meat, you know.
I know we all have a lot of fish and all that, but you know, it's not just about having fish. It's just it's not having the meat. So, you know, a veggie pizza is a good thing. What'd you use for the sauce? Ranch or something like that, or did you use a regular sauce?
No, I used a regular sauce, and I used I buy a lot of mini colored peppers because you can use them for so many things. I diced up some mini colored peppers, some onions, and some fresh mushrooms, and grated some fresh mozzarella, and yeah, it's just easy, and it's nice because I can make my own pizza, and my wife wants slightly different toppings on hers, so you can. It's not too big where you can't eat it yourself, but it's not big enough to share.
Right. No, that's good. That's good. And yeah, you get to make two different. Everyone's happy.
Yeah, but that's the best. That's one of the best shells you have there. I mean, I know Saloni's makes good stuff. I'm not bad talking to anybody else, but the Mancini's, you take them, put a little bit of olive oil on them, put them on the grill for about 2 minutes, just get it slightly firmed up, then bring it back in and put your sauce and your toppings on there, and crank up the heat and melt everything down, and they just come out really nice, you know.
Yeah, see, Mancini's has a different flavor than any of the other breads, really. I don't know. It's like the chew to it, but it's not a dry at all. I don't know. It's just a different than any you have anywhere I've tasted, quite honestly. It's just that a good bread.
It's very airy, too, you know, for how thick that is. It's not dense, you know.
It's deceptive.
Crust pizza. Yes, and it's anybody that's listening, go out and try it because for $3-4, whatever they are, it's definitely worth the money. You know.
No, definitely.
You was talking about like the store brand or the name brand kielbasis. They're not kielbasi.
I know they're big hot dogs.
The only way I can eat a national brand kielbasi is to slice it up, fry it up, get all the grease out of it, put it on paper towels, you know, dry it off, put it in a crock pot, place up some onions, a can of black beans, a whole bottle of chili sauce, and let that slow cook for a couple hours and get all that flavors in there, and it tastes like something you can eat. Yeah. When you're done eating kielbasi, with all the sauce you got left at the bottom of the crock pot, take a little Velveeta cheese, and you still got some black beans and whatnot in there, and the onions, and you can make like a little nacho dip out of the sauce.
Oh, that's a good idea. That'd be good too. All that flavor that's sitting there ready to be eaten.
Oh yeah, you can tear that up real fast. It's a nice little snack after, you know, late night snack after you ate your dinner. Like there's a little bit left overs, and you're not wasting anything.
Nope. And again, that's all that extra flavor. That's all flavor.
Hey, Chuck, what's your favorite way to enjoy potatoes? What do you like, mashed, baked, scallop, au gratin? What's your favorite, fries?
Well, baked potatoes are my favorite. I mean, I like the Yukon Gold potatoes. I mean, sometimes I get a big Idaho potato, and I'll bake that. Then I'll bring it in, and I'll scoop it out, and then put the skins back on the grill and crisp them up a little bit more. Then put the potatoes back in, maybe add some like broccoli and cheese on top, make it like a loaded baked potato.
Nothing like a loaded baked potato.
It's like the perfect meal. For me, it's the perfect meal because you can top it any way you want. You know, it's not going to load you up on calories depending what toppings you put on it. But I mean, you can make it as lighter as heavy calories as you really want. And the type of potatoes, like Yukon Golds, are mysteriously buttery, and I don't understand where the buttery taste comes from, but they're a great potato. It might just be in my head because they got that yellow flesh.
No, they're much creamier.
Yeah.
The red potato is a little bit more durable.
Mm-hmm.
If you're cooking, they're all different, but they're all good. It just depends on what you do with them. Just like anything else, every potato has its own. If I only had one potato, the Yukon Gold. That's my favorite.
I agree with it. It's all starch. A lot of it, they say, is the starch contents. You know, that's what get it. So Yukon's real low on. Is a lot lower on the starch, and then there's red potato. Then you go into the bakers, which have more.
You know, the baked potatoes. I actually like baked potatoes cold too.
See, and I'm one that eats the whole thing. I eat the skin and all.
Absolutely.
I like to chew that skin after it's been baked.
Well, they told me it would help your hair curl, but I think that didn't really work.
I must have started potatoes a little too late in life.
you know what's nice about leftover baked potatoes, if you have any?
What's that?
Is that you take them, slice them up, and then fry them up the next day. Then add some onions and mushrooms and maybe a little bit of eggs, and you scramble them in there and just make a little.
It's kind of a home fried taste to it.
Up. Absolutely. Then you crisp them up a little bit more, and it's with the oil. Don't want to waste anything. Food's too expensive.
It is. It's a shame to waste it. There's other people that would do wherever for that food.
Yeah, but I appreciate the call, Chuck. Thanks. But we got coupons. We got the Coons Reward Card. And I'm sorry, but I will fight till there is no breath left in my body. You can still eat affordable, friendly, fresh, nutritious, delicious food. You just got to make a list, check it once, check it twice. And that, we just had a 2-day of savings sale. We do that once a month. That's an epic opportunity for people to save. And that right there alone makes me a winner when it comes to my argument, Frank. You can still get good food at reasonable prices. You just have to put a little thought process in it, or wait till when we say we got a giant 2-day sale. Go ahead.
Yeah, the 2-day sales and watching the ads, because the ads are the manufacturers looking to move product. It's stuff they have extras of or stuff that they're just trying to introduce new things, and we get those deals, especially, the 2-day sales. We really fight. We fight hard for those, I mean, I can tell you right now, there is no profit margin on the 2-day sale stuff for us. We're giving back to the customer on all that. So it's a reward. It literally is a reward coming back to the customer coming to our stores. But, and then also the other things, you don't get as many paper coupons anymore, which we still accept, and we still double up to 99 cents. But there's the e-coupons. When you go into coonsmarket.com, we have our digital coupons section. As long as you sign up, that's with your rewards card, so you have an account. And then you can click what coupons you want, and going through there. And then watching our ads, we have electronic store coupons that, different. You don't have to go in and click these ones, but that's where you get you bought 2 Nabisco, you get $1 off of those 2. So it lowers your price. Or like this week, we have Marie Callender's pies, and you buy 2 of those pies, you get a free can of Ready Whip. So you buy a pumpkin pie and another pie, and you have Ready Whip to go with the pumpkin pie. Those kind of things. We're not pairing it up with something silly. We're pairing it up with something that you would use with that product. Cool Whip topping was the same. You buy 2 of the Cool Whips, the 8-ounce tubs, you save $1. And these are still available after Easter. It's Monday and Tuesday after Easter. We still have these deals going.
All right, all of our stores closed today, so our employees can spend Easter with their family. But first thing tomorrow morning, all 8 locations will be there to serve you. Lots of calls back on the other side. Next stop is Squirrel Hill with Lynn, and we've got Michelle as well waiting in the wings from Penn Hills. Coons Cooking Hour. Next hour, things you need to know when you're choosing a tree professional. It's Carlos from Greater Pitt Tree Service on this Easter Sunday, and taking your calls about all of your tree-related questions.
We're only 18 days until the draft. Everything you need to know surrounding the draft is right here. It's brought to you by Bill Few Associates Wealth Management, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Shopping for replacement windows? Metropolitan Window Company elevates your shopping experience.
John, Maggie, and Justin Schmutzer here from Metropolitan Window Company, Pittsburgh's locally owned and family-operated window and door company for over 47 years.
When you choose Metropolitan Window Company, you'll experience personalized knowledge, expertise, and professionalism from our first visit to your home until our craftsmen complete your installation.
We're the window company that people want in their homes, and our exclusive Infinity by Marvin 100% fiberglass windows are the windows people love.
They're built for life. They are the strongest, longest-lasting windows you can buy.
And we have a great selection of colors and finishes. Experience Metropolitan Window Company. Stop by our showrooms, visit us at metropolitanwindows.com, or give us a call at 412-655-8411.
PA 1565.
Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns? The IRS won't quit until they get your money. Here's great news, fresh from those in the know. Major changes have happened at the IRS. If you owe more than $10,000, you may be eligible for a 99% reduction of what you owe. Haven't filed a return for a while? Their happy clients are talking.
The IRS was going to levy my bank account, but Guardian was able to prevent that and fix all my IRS issues. Thanks again, Guardian Tax.
Need relief from crushing tax debt? The IRS now has special programs. Guardian Tax knows all about them. Personal or business, this is the fresh new break you've been hoping for.
We aren't the company you call when you need a hug because you're scared of the IRS. Guardian Tax is the company that wins when you need it most.
Guardian Tax Service is really great to work with. They really help me out. I'd recommend them highly.
Call now for a free confidential consultation. 800-499-1424. 800-499-1424. 800-499-1424.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
The diet can continue Monday. This is the Coons Cooking Hour on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, here we go. Lynn, Squirrel Hill. Lynn, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Good. How are you doing today? Happy Easter to you.
Happy Easter.
Thank you. So anyway, I heard you talk about scalloped potatoes. I don't know if you got a recipe or not, but my mom figured it out so it could be in the microwave. I've given this to you before, but at any rate, here it is. You take a brownie-sized pan, like an 8x8 or a 9x9, spray it, and 5 potatoes, peeled and sliced. You arrange the potatoes in the glass dish, and then you take 1 tablespoon of flour, sprinkle it over the top, 1 teaspoon of salt, sprinkle over the top, and then I usually sort of mix it through, like toss it through so the flour becomes distributed. And then I take a cup of milk, pour it over the top of that, and a tablespoon of butter and cut it into tiny little spots and pieces and spot it all over the top of the casserole. And then it calls for 2 cups of shredded sharp cheese. So what I do is I take 1 cup and put it on top of it, put it in the microwave for 10 minutes. Then I, stir it around a little bit, put the other layer of cheese on top and bake it for 10 more in the microwave. And then I take it out and put it in the real oven at 350 for 10 minutes to get it brown, and that's it.
Yeah, nice and easy. It takes a little bit of time to do some of the stuff, but it really isn't something that's difficult. You don't need a lot of ingredients at all, and you cook that in the microwave,
And my mom and my grandma used to make this every Easter, and it was a giant tray, and it would take forever, like an hour and a half, in the oven to cook. And this is so fast.
And you have to think of different things when you're making a ham or something else in the oven.
Yeah. This is delicious. It's really good. Y'all should try it. Okay.
All right, sounds good. Hey, Lynn, thank you. Have a great holiday. Appreciate it very much. Michelle, Penn Hills, it's Potatoes Supreme. How are you, Michelle? Welcome to KDKA.
I'm great, thanks. And you?
I'm wonderful. Happy Easter.
Yeah, happy Easter to you. Thanks for allowing me to be on your show. This Potatoes Supreme recipe was from my Aunt Alice. You take 6 medium potatoes, clean them, and then just cook them in salt water the night before. Refrigerate them overnight, and then in the morning or whenever you're going to make them, you peel them and coarsely grate them. Then you take a quarter cup of butter or margarine melted, preferably butter, 2 cups cheddar cheese grated, a third cup of chopped onions, 1 pint of sour cream, and salt and pepper as desired. So you mix all those ingredients with the potatoes. Just put them in a shallow 9x13 baking dish and bake at 350 for about 35 minutes. And you should cover it while baking. So it's really tasty. Everyone loves it. It always goes real quick.
Good stuff.
Yeah, a lot of even like the scallop, it's hard to make enough. Like they're that good.
Yeah, this says serve 6 to 8 is what it says. But yeah, everyone always loves this. And it's a little more work than using like a hash brown, but I like it better myself.
Sounds good.
That's pretty traditional. And just one thing I wanted to share with you that's really fun.
Yep.
When my niece and nephew were a little older than my 2 kids, they would want to be teasing my son, and he was little, and they would take a raw egg and they would dye it, and they'd go outside on the sidewalk, and they'd like everyone took a hard-boiled egg. The other people would take a hard-boiled egg and hit it on their forehead and break it, but the one my son had was raw, so when he did it, he had egg all over his face.
And that gave
and they called him the crazy egghead, they called him.
And it stuck with him for the rest of his life. Good stuff. Debbie, I've got about a minute and a half, all yours. Good morning and happy Easter.
Good morning. Happy Easter, gentlemen. Frank, this recipe's for you, the funeral potatoes, that's hash brown casserole.
Yeah.
You take 1 to 2 cups of shredded cheddar cheese, 2 10-ounce cans of either chicken, mushroom, or broccoli soup, 3/4 of a cup of sour cream, a 1/2 cup of melted butter, 1/2 cup of onions that have been chopped, 1 32-ounce bag of shredded hash browns, 3 cups of crushed cornflakes, melted butter, 2 tablespoons of salt and pepper. Combine the cheese, your soup, the sour cream, the melted butter, and the onion in a bowl. You fold in the hash browns, spread it out in a 9x13 pan greased baking dish. Top it with the cornflakes that have been mixed with the melted butter and the salt and pepper. Put it on top, bake it for like 40 minutes or so.
There you have it, your funeral potatoes.
They sound so good. I feel like I've been cheated my whole life. Why did I just hear about these?
You know where
now?
this came from, and I'm going to tell you, I figured it out. Because when anybody back in the day, especially when I was young, a few years before you, when anybody, I just came to me literally moments ago because she called it potatoes, he called it fries. When you would go to pay your respects at a house, you would take funeral potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
And that in a Corningware dish, and I remember it very well.
Well, hopefully everyone didn't.
No.
You have a lot of funeral potatoes.
No.
We got to coordinate this.
Yeah, we did. I'll do the funeral potatoes. You do the funeral chicken.
Someone's going to make stuffed shells. The other person's going to make stuffed peppers.
A lot of stuffed shells.
Yep.
All right, and funeral meatballs, too. That's something else. All right, a short break. We'll come back. Much more today on KDKA in just a couple of minutes.
The Big K Morning Show with Larry Richards.
Pittsburgh Mayor Corey O'Connor. Very atypical with the NFL draft and all the things that are going on.
We're all excited. You know, it's coming fast. But we also want Pittsburghers, and I say this wherever I go, this is also your city, this is your draft. We're going to have hundreds of thousands of people coming from across the country, but we want Pittsburghers to be ambassadors.
Weekday mornings 5:30 to 10 on the Voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for moms.
Support St. Anthony school programs and help students with special needs achieve their full potential through inclusive education, therapy sessions, and job skills development. Serving students ages 5 through 21 with Down syndrome, autism, and other intellectual disabilities. Find St. Anthony school programs within select Catholic schools in the Pittsburgh area, including a post-secondary program at Duquesne University. For over 70 years, they have empowered students of all faiths to live independently and contribute meaningfully to society. Learn more or donate at stanthonykids.org.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA, covered by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 platinum roofing company. Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
The diet can continue Monday. This is the Coons Cooking Hour on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Coach Tony Barkley today, Seneca Valley, former Green Bay Packer, talking the draft. He'll be with us right through the draft. That is on the 23rd, the 24th, and the 25th. Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday Show. BB Flannery talking college basketball, 11:30, and Joe Giordano, our leadoff batter. He, of course, former Pitt Panther baseball coach, now at IMG Academy, talking about the Pirates, who've had some success trying to get the series today against Baltimore. Winners yesterday in a Nick York walk-off double that Brian Reynolds came around to score. So really excited to get that Easter edition of the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday Show underway. And next hour, Just Carlos, we're going to be talking about what you need to know when you're choosing a tree professional, then Accurate Solutions. But right now, it's time to draw this week's winner of that $25 gift certificate this week on the Coons Cooking Hour. And the winner is, Frank?
This week's winner is Lynn in Squirrel Hill.
You know, something Frank and I were talking about moments ago is how quickly time has gone by, and here it is already Easter, but we're thinking spring, so tell them about some of the spring happenings at Coons Market. By the way, closed today for Easter, back open tomorrow. Got about a minute. Go ahead, Frank.
Well, yeah, now you're coming closer to where, our next big holiday would be Memorial Day coming up, and starting to clean things up outside, starting to get those grills ready. We're not all like Chuck. We don't grill all winter long, but the ones that do, the ones that don't, times to bring out that grill. I like to clean them up real good during the spring when I first bring it out. Get the inside cleaned out and all of that, so they can go all year round with the. I know they say build up flavors, but I've also drilled in my head about food safety. And I don't want to get anyone sick or anything like that, so I'm paranoid. So I clean it all up really good in the spring, and then throughout the summer I just burn it. I burn things off before I do it. But this is that time of year, you're gonna start seeing burgers. You're gonna start seeing the different cut produce and all that. So it's a good time of year to pick. And fruits will be coming. All those fresh fruits. We already enjoyed the berries. Now some of those fresh stone fruits will be coming up.
Have a happy Easter.
Have a great Easter.
Happy Easter. Rob Taylor next with the news. Now, listen, if you have a tree-related question, let's go. Anything on your mind about those trees getting ready for the spring season, he is the guy in every region. Greater Pitt Tree Service is the place you need to call. Our number is 866-391-1020. They can be reached at 412-884-TREE, 8733. Just Carlos talking some of the things you need to know before you pick a professional when it comes to dealing with your trees. And hopefully, we want you to pick Greater Pitt Tree Service. It's 9 o'clock.
The preceding program was paid for by Coons Quality Market.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 48 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 9 o'clock. I'm Rob Taylor. The Department of Homeland Security says ICE agents arrested 13 people outside of a PennDOT driver's license center in Katanning, Armstrong County. These arrests happened on Friday. DHS says ICE responded to calls from East Franklin police about a, quote, abnormally large amount of individuals standing outside the driver's license center in Katanning. Those arrested were from countries such as Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Turkmenistan. DHS, which referred to those arrested as, quote, illegal aliens, said one of the suspects resisted arrest and assaulted a local officer. The incident is under investigation. Washington County Coroner's Office says a person died in a wrong-way crash in Donegal Township Saturday. It happened around 6 p.m. In Donegal Township. As mentioned, the driver was going the wrong way in the westbound lane of Route 40 at speeds over 80 miles per hour. Driver then collided head-on with an SUV near the intersection with Lake Road. Driver was pronounced dead at 9:15 p.m. or so at a local hospital. State police are investigating the crash. A woman was trapped underneath a truck following a rollover crash on I-79. and involved a tractor trailer, and it happened Saturday around 6 o'clock in the northbound side of 79 North Coriopolis. First responders had to use airbags of sorts to lift the truck up enough just to get the woman to safety. She was rescued and taken to the hospital in stable condition. KDKA Radio News Time, it's 9:02. We have the AccuWeather forecast coming up next.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55-plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da! If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it. Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of essentials. Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
What is life-changing medicine? The discovery of cancer at the earliest possible stage? Challenging limits and transforming the impossible into reality? Or connecting people to doctors and specialists when they need it most? At UPMC, we believe life-changing medicine is all those things. Our goal is to change the world of medicine and the lives of those around us. UPMC, changing healthcare, changing lives. Life-changing medicine.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred roofing replacement contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Easter Sunday starts with a couple of showers, otherwise rather cloudy and cooler with a high of 50. Then colder for tonight with some clouds and a low of 35. Ahead of a Monday that brings sun and clouds and a passing shower or two, the high 51. Then a snow shower gives way to decreasing clouds and colder conditions Tuesday, high 40. For AccuWeather, I'm LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The following is paid for by Greater Pitt Tree Service. Information on the program is intended to solely further the public's general knowledge about the product. Opinions expressed should not be relied upon for any purpose by any member of the audience. News Radio KDKA does not guarantee the accuracy of any of the information aired on the following program.
These are the people, the movers and shakers, the businesses, the people you know in your community who make Pittsburgh work. This is Pittsburgh Works on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
I'll tell you, I was out near this guy's hometown the other day doing some work on Beulah Road. Went through that great community that he grew up in, and we're going to be talking about this community that is Pittsburgh, his other home, where he travels throughout day and night with Greater Pitt Tree Service. He is Carlos. Yeah, Greenfield is where he was born, but he travels every day with that great crew to great communities doing what they need to do. But the question is, and this is what he wants to talk about today, he's going to tell you, he's going to educate you, give you some information that you need to know. What should you do and what should you ask when it comes to choosing a tree professional? But as I've been telling you this morning, I highly urge you to choose Greater Pitt Tree Service because they got a track record and they did your neighbor's tree, as he likes to say. It's Easter Sunday, and I know a lot of you are just hanging out, getting ready to go to church service or spend time with the family. But the weather has been warm the last couple of days, so you've been outside, you've taken a look around the perimeter, you see things you need to get handled. So if you have any tree-related questions, and I know it's Easter, but before you get going, you have a chance to get all of your tree-related questions answered right now. So we've got 4 lines available. We can take first come, first serve calls about tree-related questions, free advice on this Easter Sunday, and the number to dial is 866-391-1020, 866-391-1020. And if you want to call their office and leave a first and last name and a working phone number, they'll get back to you first thing next week, which will be here before you know it, 412-884-TREE, 412-884-8733. So before we get to the questions you need to do, as your due diligence is concerned, to ask those tree professionals, I'm going to simply say to him, the warm weather has made a difference, and people now, because of the last couple of days, Carlos, have an understanding of what they are dealing with. Good morning. How are you?
Yes, good morning, Robin. Happy Easter to you and all the KDK listeners. this part of the season, holiday kicks off spring, it seems like. And then, like you're saying, people are outside, they're in their yards, they're doing Easter egg hunts and seeing what's going on their property and maybe noticing some things going on with their trees. And, that's where it starts. Give us a call. We can get out there, take a look at everything, steer you in the right direction, and let you know what you should or shouldn't do to some of the trees and or plants on your property. But today's topic, it's getting a little difficult to navigate for the average homeowner through all this stuff where they find companies, and not just tree companies. I'm talking any type of contractors now. There's social media, and there's AI, and there's Google, and there's still print ads, and there's direct mailers, and they're, coming up with all these different options on who to use on their property for tree work or other roofer things like that most homeowners get done on their property. So sometimes it gets a little bit diluted on who you end up with on your property. And unless you're going to be committed to doing, a little bit of due diligence and being that educated consumer and really doing some research, because you have a lot of liability when you let people on your property that are doing any type of work, especially tree work, because it's very dangerous. So I'm here to kind of educate the consumer and let them know what I've learned over the years. And so you end up with the right company on your property.
All right, I got a lot of questions I'm going to get to with him in just a couple of moments, but their number is 412-884-TREE, 412-884-8733. So, as I mentioned, Carlos, I've been here, there, and everywhere over the last 72 hours doing a lot of road work. And, one of the things that I noticed, and I started thinking about you, and I wanted to get this question out there, because we had such a severe winter. Now that the snow is melting, we had a lot of high winds. A lot of topsoil has been moved. I noticed a lot of trees that the roots are like really exposed and the trees are bending a little bit. So if you have anything similar to that, they should be making a call like now, correct?
Yes, that's a common job for us. And the ground is very wet right now from all the snow that melted and all these recent rains that we've had. We have this one particular job in Bethel Park, and their backyard stretches down to a small creek that runs behind their property. And every time the ground starts to dry off where we think we can get to this job, here comes another wave of storms and rain. And we're very understanding of that. We know how to negotiate through that. We know how to come in and out of your property with our equipment and make it where it doesn't look like a war zone, came onto your property. And we don't want to be counterproductive, cut your trees and trash your yard and your property. And, sometimes if you go with a cheap price, they don't really take that into consideration, and you walk away saying, well, I hired this company because they were, their price was less. And then we get the call a couple of weeks later, like, oh, my God, I wish I would have used you. I understand what you meant when you said you'll put these Terra mats down in my yard and all your equipment will roll over these large mats that absorb the weight and the traction of the equipment. So that's another thing that, you kind of make a lot of concessions when you go price hunting, and sometimes it turns out good. And a lot of times it doesn't. And, everybody's old enough to know, especially all the KDK listeners, you get what you pay for, nothing more and nothing less. So if you want that level of service, sometimes it might cost you a little more, but there's value attached to pricing, to our pricing and other professional contractors' pricing, that some companies are, a lot of these things, a lot of people you end up on your property, they're not even companies. They're just, just out there, and they're putting their business card on Facebook, and then AI's generating all this like bells and whistles that kind of blind people, but there's really nothing attached to it. And it's getting to be where it's hard for a homeowner to end up with the right contractor on their property.
Listen, I've always said this, proof is reputation, word of mouth, and if they live in the community, they eat in the community, they worship in the community, they buy their groceries in the community, they're your neighbors. Your neighbors know of them because they've had them do work for them. As he likes to say, we did your neighbor's tree. And when you think of Greater Pitt Tree Service, There's no one that checks the boxes more than what they do. One more thing, and then we're going to get a quick break in here, and then we're going to start talking about things that you need to do and ask when it comes to hiring a professional, not just a tree professional, but a contractor in general. One of the other things, when you have these companies that come in and basically do a job for a cheaper price, if you have an issue, as quickly as they roll into town, they're out of town to the next place to do the same thing. So being able to track some of these people down, I've actually heard where they've called the number that they were given, and that number's out of service. So you really have to pay attention, because some of them will take that money up front, or half when they start the job, the other half within a day or two. They're paid in full, the check is cashed, and they have disappeared. They're nowhere to be found. So a lot of times tracking these people down is almost next to impossible, Carlos.
Yes, I mean, we've finished or fixed a lot of jobs from a company that a homeowner might have hired because it was a cheap price, and then they figure out halfway through the job that they didn't have the right equipment or training, or maybe the homeowner's watching them like, wait a minute here, this doesn't look right, and just shut it down and get off my property. And so all your research and due diligence should be on the front end of this decision instead of the back end. Take the time. You have so many resources at your fingertips to use as a homeowner. You have the Better Business Bureau. You have Google. To be on Google, you have to be verified. You need a website. They do a lot of background checking. They do a lot of checking that you have the proper insurance. So if you're Googling a company and you find them on Google, that they've been vetted by Google, and then you need a website to be on Google. So instead of just finding somebody on Facebook that generated a AI picture of a guy in a tree and a truck and chipper with nothing attached to it, now when you're going on Google, and especially the Better Business Bureau, these are places that vet companies for you, so you can end up with the right contractor on the property.
All right, I'm about ready to start taking some calls. So if any of you have any advice or information or tips or tricks, or you just need help and a question answered in real time, all of the above, let's get going. Tree-related questions for Carlos from Greater Pitt Tree Service, 866-391-1020, 866-391-1020. Their number is 412-884-TREE, 412-884-8733. Carlos, Greater Pitt Tree Service on an Easter Sunday morning with your Pratt Pack at KDKA.
Your source for official traffic information. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
Spring cleaning is upon us, but there's one meaningful box that you don't throw away when cleaning out your closet. It's the box filled with your family's important videotapes, film reels, and photos. Hi, I'm Adam Baselogger.
And I'm Nick Mako. We started Legacy Box over a decade ago to help families organize and update their analog media to digital.
Legacy Box is simple and easy. It works and is safe. Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box.
And Legacy Box has been featured in Good Housekeeping, The Today Show, and Rachel Ray.
Legacy Box is like magic, converting your shoebox of memories to the cloud or thumb drive, ready to watch and share.
Declutter your closet by digitizing your media. Become more organized and accomplished, knowing your family's recorded past is safe forever. Take advantage of our spring cleaning sale going on now. It's the easiest task to check off your to-do list.
For a limited time, you can get started for just $9 a tape. Visit legacybox.com/radio to get our $9 sale. That's legacybox.com/radio to get our $9 offer. Legacybox.com/radio.
Aetna has been my lifesaver. Easy to understand, and if not, customer service is always there to help.
Those words from a real Aetna Medicare Advantage member speak to why U.S. News & World Report named us a best Medicare Advantage company. Because we show up with care management that ensures doctors work together on complicated conditions. We show up with the latest in online tools to make healthcare easier to use anytime. We show up for you, because that's how healthier happens together. Member feedback has been edited for length and clarity.
SchultzFord.com, 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 SchultzFord.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
These are the people who make Pittsburgh work. This is Pittsburgh Works on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, two great minds think alike. He's got some thoughts. I've got some thoughts. Greater Pitt Tree Service. Carlos is with us. If you have any tree-related questions, call us, 866-391-1020, 866-391-1020. I heard something the other day, and I thought of you. Somebody said, I got this tree in my backyard, but you know what? It's been around for 100 years. It's not going anywhere. And I said, well, what do you mean? He goes, well, it's kind of leaning in the wrong direction. Age has nothing to do with it. Doesn't mean longevity, but in many cases it could mean the end of the road. And if a tree doesn't look straight, no matter how long it's been there, even if it's a mighty oak, it could go at any time. Right, Carlos?
Yes, the majority of trees on your property are planted unless you have like a wooded area behind your house or you build a house in a wooded lot and carve the house around some trees that were there. But the majority of neighborhoods around Pittsburgh and the surrounding areas, all those trees were planted. And planted trees have a shelf life. And the shelf life of a planted tree is usually between 50 and 70 years old before it's going to become more problematic than beneficial. A lot of factors contribute to that. Improper pruning and trimming over the years from homeowners that, just went out there and started cutting on it or hired somebody that wasn't practicing proper pruning techniques. There's factors like the lightning strike or heavy winds breaking branches in the upper canopy, soil erosion, like you mentioned earlier. So there's so many factors that contribute to a lower shelf life of a tree on a property as compared to a tree out in the woods, in the mountains that live, a couple hundred years old sometimes because they're protected from homeowners and the elements a little better.
All right, let's talk about one of those key points. And I remember when this came into effect, and my friends who are true blue contractors absolutely loved it, as I'm sure you do. PA contractor number. Talk about that, Carlos.
Okay, so to do any type of home service on somebody's property, you're a contractor, and to be a certified licensed contractor in Pennsylvania, you need a PA contractor's number, and that applies to any business that is doing over $4,000 of work, which isn't a lot. So, back in the day when it was the Yellow Pages and the Penny Saver, they required to advertise that you had a PA contractor's number. I think it was almost a legality for them to advertise your company in Pennsylvania. They wanted to make sure you had that PA contractor's number because they didn't want to put contractors in the Yellow Book, the Yellow Pages, or in Penny Saver that weren't reputable. So it's become kind of, I think, thrown to the wayside because of social media. It's so hard to police it now. Back when it was mostly print ads, it was easy because if somebody saw an ad in the Yellow Pages and it didn't list that PA contractor's number in it, it says PA, the number sign, and I think it could be 3 to 6 digit number that you're assigned after you've submitted an application to the Attorney General, Pennsylvania Attorney General, proving that you have insurance, background check, a lot of things that you go through to submit this application to get a PA contractor's number. So if you're out there hiring a company and you don't see a PA contractor's number on their business card, on the ad that you found them, you can go on the PA.gov, attorneygeneral.gov website and look up to see if that company has a PA contractor's number. And again, you're doing this research on the front end to prevent you from having to do more on the back end.
This is why I love Carlos. He's taking this hour to help you get the right person for the job. Not just a tree-related question, but a contractor-related question. Whatever it is, if you have something that has to get done, these are the rules, the steps that you should follow. This is extremely important. Number 2, proper workman's comp. Go ahead, Carlos.
Okay. All right, so every industry, every type of guys putting up gutters or roof or doing tree work on your property, every company has workers' comp insurance, or should, for the employees they put on your property. And the workers' comp insurance is a rate the company pays based on how dangerous that occupation is. So some rates are a little lower and some rates are a little higher. Tree company, what we do is very dangerous, so our rate's very high. So a lot of companies may not pay it, or they list their company as a landscape company because the landscape rate is a lot lower than a tree trimmer's rate, or they're calling themselves, they don't attach the word tree service to their name of the company. So if you're unsure if that company has the proper workers' comp to be on your property, it's a good idea to forward any insurance you get from a contractor to your homeowner's insurance. You should have a direct line with them. You should know your agent's name and number. And when you're getting work done on your property and putting people in your house that they insure, they want to know that you've chosen the proper contractor that has that workers' comp rate, that proper workers' comp rate. And in case somebody got hurt or killed, they don't want sued for the medical bills. And they'll say to you, hey, look, you put the wrong contractor on your property. This guy got hurt or killed. You're on the hook for the medical bills. You should have came to us and let us look at the insurance. And they're happy to do it. They're happy to make sure you, their customer, is putting the proper people on your property that they insure. So they're more than glad to look over that insurance and let you know, hey, Mr. Smith, yes, this company has the proper workers' comp, or hey, Mr. Smith, they have workers' comp, but it's not really proper. It's not really right for what they're doing on your property. Or, hey, look, they don't even have workers' comp. They have liability insurance. They sent you a certificate of insurance, and yes, they do have liability insurance, but there's no workers' comp on this policy. So it's very important to take that step and take that time before you end up with the wrong person on your property.
Now you know why you need to give this man a call and his great crew. Carlos, Greater Pitt Tree Service, 412-884-TREE, 412-884-8733. You have a tree-related question, a situation you're dealing with that he can help you or give you some peace of mind. We're going to open the phones up as we always do between now and 10. Number to dial is 866-391-1020. Now I get to ask a question, very important. Can you provide references and reviews? Explain why that's important, Carlos.
Yes, especially on Google. If you're going to be on Google, you have that website. You're working for people. They're going to post reviews, and you, the homeowner, is going to be able to research and read those. And you want to read through them and read the comments, and a lot of times read the response from that contractor. Because look, nobody's perfect. Sometimes some things go wrong that were out of your control, and a lot of times people just want to blast you for something small that went wrong. But you want to just read through and navigate through those on Google. And then if you really want to be that educated consumer, if you really want to dive in and do the research, go on the Better Business Bureau, BBB.com. Look up that contractor. See if he's on there. See what his ranking is. You got an A, B, C, D, or F ranking on the Better Business Bureau. And then a lot of businesses are accredited on the Better Business Bureau, which means the Better Business Bureau, gave you an opportunity to submit an application to prove that you're a reputable contractor. They look over it, and they're saying to the customer, hey, look, this is a good company. They're accredited through us. And the Better Business Bureau reviews are really the only ones that are verified. When you post a review on the Better Business Bureau, they do the research to make sure that company actually worked for that person. And when they submit the review, they read it over, they contact the contractor, and they let you know that a review's been made. So there's a little bit of vetting on those reviews. Google, Yelp, I could call my friends and have them put 100 5-star reviews on there. Nobody looks into it. So Better Business Bureau, that's the gold standard. It's become kind of overlooked with Google and Yelp and things like that the younger homeowners are gravitating towards. But the real educated homeowner, the older homeowners, the Better Business Bureau, that is the gold standard.
Couple of other things here real quick before we get to the bottom of the hour. Again, if you have a question about trees or anything, Carlos is here until 10, 866-391-1020. As I alluded to last time, look, it's already Easter. It seems like it was Christmas. So if you want to at least get them out to your property, I would call today. Leave your name and number. They'll get a hold of you first of next week because the summer will be here before you know it. And the next thing you know, they're going to be just steamrolling morning, noon, and night. So if you want to get an appointment, get in there early. Give them a call. Again, 412-884-TREE, 412-884-8733. Everybody talks free estimates. But the thing that I believe in, and I've learned from prior mistakes, get a written estimate too. Look at it on paper. Your thoughts about that, Carlos?
Yes, that's very important. We won't do an estimate unless the homeowner's present. We don't ride by and look at a tree and write on a piece of paper, a business card, a number. We want to meet with the homeowner. We want to learn everything about your property that we can. And, I'm about the relationship. So we like to form that relationship either with the salesman or myself going out, meeting you on your property, you letting us know, hey, I got a soft spot in the yard. I got a drainage spout that comes here. I got a neighbor that do not go on his property. Trash days Wednesday. I mean, there's so much involved that we take into account because we want to serve you as best we can. That's our goal. We want to have you as a client. We want to have you as a repeat customer. We want your friends, your family, your neighbors as referrals. So we go that extra mile, and you get a estimate either emailed to you. A lot of times some of the older people don't have email, so we'll handwrite one. But the majority of them are emailed out to you after we come out onto your property. And, I tell people if you're gathering estimates and you're unsure who to use, and, I tell a lot of people, put the estimates on your kitchen table, turn them over and write the name of the company. Pick the company you want to use based on who you think will do the best job. Stop getting blinded by the price. Sometimes we are the cheapest, sometimes we're not. But use the company that came out that gave you the best feeling, that gave you the best materials to look at, that were able to prove that they had the proper insurance. You looked them up on the Better Business Bureau and Google. Use that company that you think will do the best job, and usually that's the best way to go.
Absolutely. Good stuff. We just had Joe, who dropped off from Mount Oliver, wanted to talk something concerning his sidewalks. Joe, feel free to call back. We'll get you up right out of the news at the bottom of the hour. Anybody else? 866-391-1020. Tree-related questions, contractor-related questions, things you need to know. Carlos giving you some education today, but one thing is for sure, this is the company that Pittsburgh knows. He was born here, raised here, been working here forever, and everyone knows those green trucks that roll through the neighborhoods of the great city of Pittsburgh. So give them a call, set up that appointment, get in early. The season will get up and running, and it'll be here before you know it, and they'll be in the thick of things, so don't miss out. 412-884-TREE, 412-884-8733, or call us now for any tree-related questions, 866-391-1020.
Y108 presents Odyssey the Night Before, powered by Bowser Chevrolet, starring Jason Aldean.
Hey, what's up, Pittsburgh? I'm Jason Aldean.
With special guests John Morgan and Shane Prophet. Wednesday, April 22nd, inside the Event Center at Rivers Casino, Pittsburgh.
So we have a little bit of fun. Y'all ready?
You can't buy a ticket to this show. You can only win your way in. Full details at y108.com. Presented by Miller Lite and brought to you by Giant Eagle, Pool City, True Green, and Broken Bow Records.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 46 degrees, Pittsburgh International at 9:30. I'm Rob Taylor. A person has died in a wrong-way crash. This happened in Washington County and Donegal Township Saturday around 6 o'clock in the evening. That driver was going the wrong way, police say, in the westbound lane of Route 40 at speeds above 80 miles per hour. That driver then crashed head-on with an SUV near the intersection with Lake Road. Both were taken to the hospital, both drivers, but the driver of the car was pronounced dead around 9:15. State police are investigating that crash. KDK Radio News Time, 9:31 now. Next update's at 10. I'm Rob Taylor on the Voice of Pittsburgh News Radio KDK.
Hi, Paul Alexander here to let you know the KDK has planned a fabulous 5-day Arizona getaway this September, and it's filling up fast. My wife, Shelley, and I want you to join us for an unforgettable trip based in beautiful Flagstaff, a relaxed mountain town that makes the perfect home base. From there, we'll explore the incredible red rocks of Sedona, travel by rail to the breathtaking Grand Canyon, a bucket list spot that everyone needs to see at least once. And then we'll take in the stunning scenery around Lake Powell with its deep blue water and wide open views. It's the perfect mix of sightseeing, natural beauty, and plenty of time to just enjoy where we are. And September is truly the sweet spot. Comfortable weather, no summer crowds, and everything planned for you. No guessing, no stress. Just show up and enjoy Arizona. Space is limited. Seats are disappearing quickly. Visit travelwithkdka.com or call 800-383-3131. Again, travelwithkdka.com or call 800-383-3131. Can't wait to see you there.
Why deal with crowded hotels and packed pools when you can have the whole place to yourself? At SWAC Vacation Rentals, some homes come with private lazy rivers, indoor pools, massive game rooms, and outdoor kitchens built for the whole crew. These aren't hotel rooms, they're private vacation playgrounds, managed by us, cared for by us, and ready when you arrive. And when you book direct, you keep more of your vacation budget where it belongs with you. Find your unforgettable stay at SWAC. SWACKvacations.com. That's SWACKvacations.com.
My name is Christine, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, was a healthy 34-year-old, and 3 months later, he was gone. Thankfully, he had life insurance. Ethos made it so easy. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. 100% online, no medical exam. Life insurance didn't take away the loss, but it did give us the space to just grieve.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/protect. Ethos.com/protect. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Watch for a couple of showers early this Easter morning. Otherwise, it's a cloudy and cooler day in store with a high of 50, leading into a colder night tonight with some clouds and a low of 35. Tomorrow brings a shower or two with a little bit of sun at times and a high of 51, but colder Tuesday with a morning snow shower, then decreasing clouds, high 40. For AccuWeather, I'm LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The following is paid for by Greater Pitt Tree Service.
These are the people who make Pittsburgh work. This is Pittsburgh Works on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, one of my favorites, Carlos, Greater Pitt Tree Service, 412-884-TREE, 412-884-8733. All right, here we go. Ellen, Kennedy Township, up for Carlos from Greater Pitt Tree Service. She's dealing with a dead tree. Go ahead, Ellen. Good morning and welcome to the show. Happy Easter.
Good morning. Happy Easter to you, too. 2 years ago, I notified the owner of a tree that I had a tree service come out, a reputable one, that said that the tree was dead. And that was 2 years ago. Well, the reason why I had called them is one of the other trees had fallen on my property and basically didn't do any real damage. But this other tree, they said was dead. They were in a cluster of 3. And it fell and it hit my house and it did $15,000 worth of damage. Now, my insurance company, I don't think is going to pursue it. But yet, you know, you can tell a tree was dead, too, just from the way the base of the tree is. And I'll be charged $40 more a year, which isn't a whole lot. But there's another tree that I believe is dead, too, in the same cluster that I think may come my way, too. Have you ever had this happen before?
Yes, I mean, sounds like something was running through the trees on your property that was killing them, you know, maybe one at a time or all together at once. And, you know, that's a tough decision to not address it, because the insurance company, they only cover claims when a healthy tree falls and hits your property. When a dead tree falls, they'll say you neglected to address it, and they won't cover the claim, which sounds like happened in your case. When a healthy tree falls...
The tree belonged to someone else, and I sent them a registered letter 2 years ago. Nice. Telling them that I had a reputable tree company come out and tell me that the tree was dead, and they thought the third one in the cluster was also dead. They'd have to wait.
you did the right thing. You sent the certified letter. Also, we can come out and send Troy, he's our ISA certified arborist, to write a nice written assessment of that tree that will benefit you and kind of cover your bases, that you've let that neighbor know, like, hey, you already had one tree hit my house. Now you got another dead one. Can you address it before it hits my house? Because really you can go after them civilly because they neglected to address something on your property. None of the insurance companies are going to cover the claim. Why should you be stuck with an increased premium or paying to repair the damage on your home? It's a common occurrence, and those are kind of the proper steps to go through. And it sounds like you knew what you were doing, and definitely they should pay to get that last dead tree out of there before it does hit your home again.
Well, the sad part is it belongs to a borough. It belongs to a borough, so I don't know. My insurance company covered the claim for me.
Oh, that was good. You got a good insurance company then. That's awesome.
Yeah, but it's not fair to them, to have to pay a claim that never should have happened. And it's not fair to me to have to pay $40 more a year because of the claim.
I agree. And they may not cover that next one. They're not going to keep going out of pocket to cover somebody else's tree, whether it's a homeowner or a borough. The boroughs should definitely address it. A lot of times the boroughs like that out where you're at will sub out a tree company like mine to come out and take the tree down safely. I would just stay on them and let them, be aware that you've already had one hit the house, cause damage, you're paying an increased premium. There's another one that has potential. Like, you're going to have to end up going after your borough in a civil court case if it hits your house again, I think.
Well, I'm afraid that I'll walk down through the driveway and one could even fall. What if I'd have been killed when that tree fell?
Yes, good point.
Yeah, that's a bad way to live. They should really address it, this isn't the best route to go for you, but you could hire my company to come take it down, take my invoice and try to pass it off onto the borough and get reimbursed. If nothing else, it's going to be cheaper to have my company come out and take the tree down, and if it's dead and it's on their property, we could probably just cut it down and throw it back onto their area where it's coming from. It's their tree. Here you go. You got your tree. It's just on the ground now. It's not threatening you. So that's an option, too. If you want to give us a call, we could come out and get you a price. And I really sympathize with cases like this. I'm going to give you, our lowest price possible to get you where you're not living in peril, because that's really what you're doing. You're living in peril right now, and you're living in harm's way, and it's no way to exist.
Well, the thing is, the first tree that fell, my daughter had just driven up the driveway, and a friend came a half an hour later and said, there's a tree across your driveway.
Wow.
All right, Ellen.
So how close that came.
Absolutely. So do me a favor. Here's the number. Call them. You can do it now. Leave your number. They'll get back to you. He'll remember you from the radio show. In the long run, get it done. Send them the invoice. He's the professional. Going to be kind of hard to argue with him because he knows what he's doing, and you see it yourself too. So sometimes you got to force the issue, and you'll be better safe than sorry for sure. So 412-884-8733, 412-884-8733, 412-884-8733. Anybody else has any tree-related questions, great call there, and I think we're going to be able to definitely help Ellen, and he'll do everything possible to do just that. But if you have a question right now, 866-391-1020, and I can tell in your voice, that's kind of frustrating to you when these boroughs kind of hold people hostage with these trees, knowing that they've got to be out of there because it can be a dangerous, if not deadly, situation, Carlos.
Yeah, there's no excuse for that. You're paying taxes to them to live in that area, and them not addressing it, that's frustrating. It's blatant neglect. This sounds like a nice lady that's living in fear. Like, come on, man, pay a company to get out there and take it down and do the right thing. And yeah, it is frustrating. And I will go out there. I might even do her job for free. Who knows? If she calls me, I like giving back to the community. You know that, Rob.
Yep.
Marty's had me out there on the Get Marty, helping people. And that's what I like about Pittsburgh. We help each other out. It's not always about the money. You know, I want to get a good relationship with somebody and she has kids, get her daughters, get her neighbors work. So I hope she does call me because I'm going to do the best I can to help her out.
Well, something else, and word of mouth, because you're on the air with me twice a month, people have said to me the thing that I love about Carlos is not just before or during the job, but after the job. And this kind of falls into that category of any type of contractor, and I'm a stickler about this. It's not so much, we know you're going to do the job, you want to get paid, but after you get paid, I want to be able to walk back to what area or inside my house, what area, and know that you picked up all your tools and you cleaned up the mess that really obviously that job created. So you're a stickler about cleaning up an area when you're done, correct?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, my guys are well trained. They know that cleanup is a very important portion of the contract that we make with a homeowner. We put the yard sign in the yard when we're done. We want to advertise to your neighbors that, look, remember that big tree that was in Mr. Smith's yard? Where'd it go? It looks like nobody was here. It looks like a spaceship beamed it up out of thin air. And that's our goal. We want to come in and out of your property where, we do a great cleanup. We don't leave a big mess, and we get you on board to give us those referrals because it's a small business. I mean, we bank on getting referrals. If you can't get referrals from your customers, you're dead in the water.
Here's the other thing great about your company. These are your workers, but so many times these companies come in, especially these private equity companies, and they have subcontractors. You're not about subcontractors at all, but you have every right to ask if they are subcontracted or not, correct?
Yes, again, that's some of the due diligence the homeowner should go through. Private equity, they've been knocking on my door for a while. They're buying up a lot of other companies like roofers and landscape companies. And, it can be good, don't get me wrong. But I think the level of service and the dedication to that company that most small businesses get from their employees gets a little diluted. So I like to keep it tight. My guys have all been with me for years. My oldest stepson works for me. He's 34. He's been with me since he's 18. We're a very tight-knit group, and we're very diverse. We have, we're like, remember that company Benetton had the colors and all the nations? Like, we have a very diverse workforce. So we definitely don't discriminate. That's for sure. We hire people that we know will come out and give us the best service, give the customer the best service. Our team in our office is great. We actually just hired another office manager to better serve our customers. So I'm constantly investing back into this company. I'm not taking the money and flying off and laying on a beach somewhere. I'm adding payroll to the company. We got another office manager in there with Stephanie. Sharon's her name. And we're handling that call volume. People like that we answer the phone during business hours, that we can get one of our salesmen out there that same day. I'm trying to create a product that I can be very proud of and serve Pittsburgh the best we can.
You're doing a great job. We'll take a break. We'll come back again. You have any tree-related questions? One more segment to go. So if any question is on your mind that he can help you with in real time, free question. You just simply call. You get the advice from the pro, Carlos Greater Pitt Tree Service, 866-391-1020, 866-391-1020, or you can call directly and leave your information, first and last name, and a working number. They will get back to you ASAP. First thing tomorrow as we kick off another week. Here's the number, 412-884-TREE, 412-884-8733. Now, still to come, Accurate Solutions next hour, and then a busy We Just Never Stop, folks. No days off. off 365 days a year. We continue to grind. After the 11 o'clock news, I'll be joined by Joe Giordano, former Pitt Panther baseball coach, now at IMG Academy. We'll talk about the Pirates going for the sweep today against Baltimore, 135-93-7 the Fan, and some of the other storylines in Major League Baseball. And then from Valley High School to the Duquesne Dukes on the Bluff, legend from the Super 70s, B.B. Flannery will be here. We'll be talking all about college basketball. Of course, it's now down to 2, UConn and Michigan. And then Coach Donnie Barkley, former Green Bay Packers, Seneca Valley High School grad, now the head coach for the Indians. He'll be here, as he will be through the weekend of the draft, talking everything about the draft. And then Ted Arnaud till 1 o'clock, the NFL, his regular time slot in which we always talk the National Football League, because it's the brand that never sleeps. Stay with us. Much more to come. KDKA.
When you need to know, depend on the news leader. At home, in your car, or at work. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM, AM 1020, and KDKA-radio.com.
The popularity of cremation is on the rise. Unfortunately, so is the cost. I'm Dustin D'Alessandro, supervisor and funeral director. To keep the cost down, the Thomas M. Smith Funeral Home and Crematory Limited in Blawnox and the D'Alessandro Funeral Home and Crematory Limited in Lawrenceville have on-site crematories. By performing the cremation on-site without losing custody of the remains, our funeral homes can defray those costs and pass the savings on to you. Our fee for a direct cremation is only $1,250. This low-cost, direct cremation offer is available to all residents of Allegheny County. Surrounding counties will incur a slight additional fee based on mileage. Contact us with questions or to schedule an appointment by calling the Blawnox office at 412-828-5700 or our Lawrenceville office at 412-682-6500. Our websites are thomasmsmithfuneralhome.com and delisandroltd.com.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, so when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
These are the people who make Pittsburgh work. This is Pittsburgh Works on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, we're back with Carlos, who will be back with us on April the 19th. But right now we have one more segment to go. Number to dial, 866-391-1020. Any tree-related questions. And, of course, you can reach them at the office. You can even leave your name and number today. They'll get back to you. 412-884-TREE, 412-884-8733. So let's focus in on what you are the professional about, and that's tree, the business of taking care of them and providing good service. But one of the things you should ask when you're dealing with a tree professional, are you an ISA certified arborist? Let's talk about why that is extremely important. Carlos.
Yes, I mean that refers to a lot of time if you're getting trimming or pruning done on your property, any fruit or flower bearing trees, really any trees that you're going to take some branches off. You want to make sure that who's ever coming out there can assess the tree and determine, the health of the tree and what it can sustain. And that's where Troy, our ISA certified arborist, comes in. He goes out on all those calls, assesses the tree. Maybe the homeowner's saying, I want to take this huge portion of this tree off because it's over my pool. And Troy will, with his training and degree in arboriculture and being an ISA certified arborist, will say, hey, look, this is an old oak tree. It's mature. can't really take more than 20% off of this tree in any one trimming or pruning. So he'll be there to kind of instruct you, and we'll try to achieve that objective you want, keeping the health of the tree in mind. And so it's important to have that out there, because if not, you could end up doing more damage than good, or you can have a company out there that doesn't practice proper pruning techniques. Troy sits down with our crew every so often, goes over training, reiterates things, and makes sure what he's telling the customer out there when he's talking to them and getting the contract signed is what translates into when the crew comes out there. And a lot of times he'll come back out when the crew is on site just to make sure. So we're very careful and diligent about when we're trimming or pruning trees.
All right, let's also talk about equipment. And this is going to be what a great education in these final couple of minutes, because you can ask this when it comes to a tree professional, and if they aren't using this type of equipment, you need to say thanks but no thanks, but you should definitely be always thinking Greater Pitt Tree Service. So let's talk about the equipment that a true tree professional uses. Go ahead.
Yeah, we have a lot of things in our arsenal, and there's a lot of things in our industry that are available to tree companies to use. And really, primarily, the goal of any tree company initially should be to keep their crew safe. So, if you don't have a bucket truck and you don't have a tracked aerial lift and you don't have a crane and you're putting a climber in a tree that's dead or compromised, that can end up really bad. So the equipment that we have is necessary to come out there, keep our crew safe, and then also be productive and safe on your property. So, you can get away with climbing most trees, and we did for a long time, but now it's really the equipment that these companies have and our company has that, keeps our employees safe, keeps your home safe, makes it more of a controlled removal, especially when we come out with our crane and we're picking portions up of a tree up over your house and setting them down in the front. It's very instrumental to have this equipment.
All right. Members of any association or governing bodies of your industry, talk about that.
Yeah, so we're a member of TCIA, that's Tree Care Industry Association, and it is kind of our governing body. It's where we get all of our training from, certifications from. We go to a yearly conference and get updated training, and our guys sit through classes, and then it's a big trade show, so we're able to see all the equipment that's available in the industry, and we're networking with our peers, and it's an association that gets you to that professional level where you could go out there and give that homeowner great service. And so we're a member of Tree Care Industry Association, and through that, our employees, our climbers, and other employees have different certifications. We have EHAP certification, Electrical Hazard Awareness Program. So our climbers go through that so we can legally and safely work near energized lines. And to get that certification, you have to have aerial rescue. So if a guy's up in a bucket truck or up climbing in a tree and an incident occurs, where you have to get them down, our guys on the ground know how to get that climber out of the tree or out of the bucket truck safely. So we have aerial rescue. And then one of our employees has a certification called CTSP, Certified Tree Care Safety Professional. And he's gone through classes and courses to understand the safety of our industry. And then he conveys it to the employees that we have under him and make sure we have tailgate safety meetings every couple days and check off safety training that TCIA sends us periodically for our crew to do. So we're invested in keeping our guys safe and giving the customer a great product out there.
All right, last thing for Carlos, Greater Pitt Tree Service, 412-884-TREE, 412-884-8733. A word to the wise, if you have a major storm and somebody shows up literally right after that storm and knocks on your door, and either that, if not be a red flag, if they say, you got some tree issues here, let's just top these trees. Definitely when somebody shows up and rings your doorbell right after a storm, that is a red flag, is it not? Go ahead, Carlos.
It definitely can be. It's not always is, but, again, here's the things you want to look for. PA contractor's number, proper workers' comp policy, any affiliation with any governing bodies like TCIA. Don't just knee-jerk and let that guy on your property. And, look, I respect the hustle. These guys are going out and they're trying to earn money for their families, and that's Pittsburghers. We're hard workers. But, just take a minute to assess it. Make sure that they know how to deal with your homeowner's insurance, which we do. We know how to communicate with them. We bring in a disaster restoration company after we get the tree off your house, and they handle the repairs, so it becomes kind of as seamless as a process as possible. So, again, it's just about taking a minute, using the resources that are at your fingertips, doing your due diligence, and making sure you cover your liability, because you work hard for your money. You don't want an accident to happen on your property, somebody get hurt or killed, and you have to fork out the money for the medical bills. So you want to make sure that everybody's insured that's on your property.
Yeah, look, I agree with you, but the reason I bring it up, and it's so true, I mean, if somebody has a pickup truck and a chainsaw and they show up and they want to take down a 100-foot pine right after a storm because most of it's on your front porch, that should be a red flag, Carlos. And if you really have an issue, there's plenty of professionals, and your trucks are in town every day, pretty much year-round. So lean in on people that you know, too, people that really are part of your community, correct?
100%. I mean, that's what my business thrives on. We're out there doing the storm calls. We have 3 crews so we can handle that call volume. We have office help. We have salesmen. We get out there, an hour sometimes after the tree falls if you call us. And if my phone rings at 3 in the morning and it's storming, I know what it is. I'm going to answer it or get right back to you. So, we're here for you. It's a good decision to bring our company out. We'll walk you through the whole process. We'll do it correctly and get your property, back to normal, get it repaired. So, calling us is a great call to make when that tree comes down on your property.
All right, April 19th. We'll see you then at 9 o'clock. Have a happy Easter, okay?
Happy Easter, Rob. Thank you.
There he goes. Carlos, Greater Pitt Tree Service, back with us in 2 weeks, April the 19th at 9 a.m., but you can always reach them, 412-884-TREE, 412-884-TREE, 412-884-8733. Greater Pitt Tree Service. Carlos, stay with us. News, 10 o'clock, moments away, KDKA.
The proceeding was paid for by Greater Pitt Tree Service. Information on the program was intended to solely further the public's general knowledge about the product. Opinions expressed should not be relied upon for any purpose by any member of the audience. News Radio KDKA does not guarantee the accuracy of any of the information heard on the preceding program.
The Big K Morning Show with Larry Richards.
Pittsburgh Mayor Corey O'Connor. Very atypical with the NFL draft and all the things that are going on.
We're all excited. It's coming fast. But we also want Pittsburghers, and I say this wherever I go, this is also your city, this is your draft. We're going to have hundreds of thousands of people coming from across the country, but we want Pittsburghers to be ambassadors.
Weekday mornings 5:30 to 10 on the Voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for mom.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 45 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 10 o'clock. I'm Rob Taylor. The second crew member aboard that F-15 fighter jet shot down in Iran on Friday, he's been rescued by U.S. military forces who conducted a rescue mission earlier on Saturday night. The crew member who was rescued was the weapons systems officer aboard the two-seater aircraft that was down by Iranian fire on Friday. The first crew member, the pilot of the fighter jet, was rescued on Friday. Now, President Donald Trump, in a post on social media, hailed the rescue of the second crew member, calling it, quote, one of the most daring search and rescue operations in U.S. history, and writing, quote, we got him. Also in the post, Trump said the operation unfolded over several hours and involved dozens of aircraft. He said the rescued crew member is a colonel who sustained injuries but will be just fine. Trump adding he is safe and sound. Stay with News Radio KDK for more on this developing story. Department of Homeland Security says ICE agents arrested 13 people outside of a PennDOT driver's license center in Armstrong County. The arrest happened on Friday. DHS says ICE responded to calls from the East Franklin Police Department because of a, quote, abnormally large amount of individuals, end quote, outside the driver's license center in Katanning. Those arrested were from countries such as Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Turkmenistan. DHS, which referred to those arrested as, quote, illegal aliens, said one of the suspects resisted arrest and assaulted a local officer. The incident is under investigation. A person died in a wrong-way crash Saturday in Washington County. That crash happened around 6 o'clock Saturday afternoon in Donegal Township. Driver was going the wrong way in the westbound lane of Route 40 at speeds up to 80 miles per hour and more. Driver then collided head-on with an SUV near the intersection with Lake Road. Both drivers were taken to the local hospital, but the driver of the first vehicle